Welcome, everybody, for a very special edition of Hot for Physical. We're going to be talking horror. We're going to be talking terror. We're going to be talking gore and everything and every other such thing. So how are y'all doing? We got a lot of fans here. I'm actually surprised. Thank you so much for popping on tonight. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Now, there was a reason that I wanted to do this. Now, first, I gotta call out, oh my goodness, we got a major effing contribution right out the gate before I was even on the air from Uncreative Deconstructionism, good friend of the channel, has super chatted, oh my god, $100. You're making me feel young again. You're making me feel, guys, tonight I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I really do. I mean, look, see the definition on my arms. My hair is coming back. I'm back in the 20s again tonight. So let's take that energy and let's do it. So I'm gonna make sure I welcome everybody. Let's see who's in the house tonight. We got Stone Man. How are you, babe? We got September Clues. Leviser Soul. Abstruse Goose tonight. We got Misogynist, who's here, and Hot for Physical. Well, yeah, now I got my Red Bull here, so I'm ready to go. I got a Halloween shirt for you to wear. And I'm ready to go. Now, there was a reason I really wanted to do this, because this type of year was always really exciting for me because there was a lot of physical. You know, nothing would beat, you know, driving around in October, popping into Walmart, popping into, you know, whatever, Target, drugstores, whatever, and you'd see a lot of physical. You'd see a lot of horror-based physical, you know, DVDs, whatever such thing. So, we don't get that anymore. You know, physical is going away now. So I thought tonight would be a great way to celebrate it, to look at some merchandise and just talk horror. You know, just talk horror. And I want to open up the lines if anybody does want to call in and, you know, share some of your memories, because that's kind of what I'm going to do. Uncreative Deconstructionism is hot tonight. God, you guys are making me feel like I'm in the 20s again here. As we all know, our friend in the other brand there has, you know, found his youth again. I had to find my youth again. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to just talk my history with you guys, talk horror, look at some pieces. And, wow, I'm surprised by the kindness. So I'm going to take a drink here, get fired up. Let's hear what you guys have been doing. Have you guys been celebrating October in any specific way? Now, I'm going to kind of do it in order from what I remember celebrating. Now, first, I would say the series that had the biggest impact on me first was Child's Play with that Chucky character. So we'll talk about that first. But Inner City Pigeon says Nintendo games now are just a physical cartridge that allows for digital download. Yes, don't even tell me about that, dude. I've been pissed off that for days. Reading more and more about, you know, Nintendo going away from physical and going digital has like absolutely had me sick to my stomach. But we'll get into that later. So I think a lot of us, you know, we remember, and for me, it was like, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s. You know, I want to ask, like, how many of you remember going into the movie rental store and our parents, like, expecting us to rent some Disney movie or some lowbrow comedy, you know, Kangaroo Jack or whatever crap. was out at that time. And where did we find ourselves? We found ourselves wandering, drawn instinctively to that horror section. And how many of us have memories, just like the feeling of walking down that horror aisle and just looking at the VHS covers and like our imaginations absolutely just running wild at the different scenarios and the different characters. So the first one for me that I really did celebrate was that Child's Play series, that Chucky character. Somewhere in the early to mid 2000s was when I first started actually getting DVDs on my own, with my own pocket money or whatever. And the first one I did actually buy was the first Child's Play, as you see here. And we got someone say, I was hot for the PS2 games at Blockbuster, friends, but my mom never let me get the M-rated games, only T for... Oh, brother, that's a familiar story around here. But that's why we brought that catchphrase forward, dude. Screw your parents. F your parents. We're gonna play what we're gonna play. And we're gonna watch what we're gonna watch. So, yeah, I mean, the first... Oh, wow. Thank you, Smitty Weberman Jensen has super chatted $2 and says, glad you're doing better there, bud. Hope all is well. Yeah, and I can get into that. I mean, nobody wants to hear about my health. You just want me here being hot, celebrating, and talking shop. And we also got another 5 subscriptions from Uncreative. He's hot tonight, dude. I appreciate the support, Uncreative. But anyway, so I'm going to talk about it. And what I like to talk about when I'm talking horror, because as much as this is going to be a hot for physical, I think it's also going to be kind of like mini reviews and just like... Oh, what is this? Inner City Pigeon says, my local movie rental place had a copy of Cannibal Holocaust. Cool. I like the name of that. Mixed in with the regular horror movies. It always blew my mind looking at the back. Yeah. Like that's what I kind of wanted to really touch on, that magic of just looking at the back of the box, maybe seeing like 3 or 4 pictures and just our minds just absolutely captivated thinking of what these movies are like. And I want to kind of try to capture that. I want to kind of like share some of the movies that when I finally did get a chance to come around and watch, some that did capture that imagination and some that didn't. So I would actually say, for my first real horror movie, and you see some of the merchandise here, like Chucky as a character is a pretty popular character. Now, this is the one I actually do remember owning, was this specific release, this DVD, and it was from the Shoppers Drug Mart. And, I had to kind of get it behind my mother's back. Before she was done shopping, I kind of rushed over to the clerk and got it. And really, I think this is a really good movie. Again, you talk about kind of capturing the energy or that imagination. And when I finally seen this one, in the early 2000s, it really did capture that. It wasn't too hokey jokey, as later the character would be known for, but it was just a straight up cool, creepy movie. And a lot of times when I watch these movies, I really try to put myself into the mindset of like, this isn't a franchise. This is just the first initial release. And I think if you go back and you watch this one, and have that kind of mindset, it's a pretty creepy little movie. I like it. Some of my favorite parts are like the early build-up, the sort of POV shots of the Child's Play Chucky character kind of running around, and there's that really creepy scene where the babysitter sees it run across the hallway, which was always cool. Now, I do got to call out the controversy, which is really sickening. The character who played Chucky was apparently a child predator. So, he can burn in hell, but we're celebrating the character. Oh, we do have a lot of fans tonight. We got SS Wet Willie, we got Jamie, we got Fish Tank Enjoyer. Wow, I'm glad to see you too. But unfortunately, as the series kind of went forward, I think it really lost a lot of its quality. The second one is okay, but the rest of them are just, to me, kind of sloppy garbage, kind of comedy, kind of. But the first one, man, I always give very much credit. And I absolutely love that scene where he's talking to like the voodoo guy. And the voodoo guy is like, you're an abomination against nature. You've perverted everything I've ever taught you, and you must be stopped. And what does he do? He runs to the phone to try to call the police. And I always thought that was really funny. Skazo's in tonight. How are you, dude? I appreciate you guys. So yeah, that was really my first introduction. And I mean, when you talk merchandise, he definitely has that very merchandisable aspect to him. I mean, dolls. Who hasn't seen a Chucky doll in like a Hot Topic or a Spencer's or some such thing? I don't think I would personally want one, but I mean, if you are a fan of the character, I'm sure you would, have a great time really collecting these pieces here. Now, this is actually kind of cool. I don't know what that's based off, but that's like a $550 piece right there. Chucky. Pretty cool. I like that. See, I actually like too. Did I ever watch the series? Yes, I did. Oh, the series, like the TV show? No, I didn't. I did not. That, not for me. Not for me. I always loved the design of the character too. Before it went like CG. Like, I thought he did look legitimately pretty creepy. And the whole thing, too, like the whole, like, serial killer stuck in the body of a doll. I think it's, like, an interesting concept. It's kind of sad that, again, a lot of these franchises we're going to talk about, you kind of, as you go forward, they became more of a character, more of, like, a popcorny type situation, but I want to really celebrate when these characters actually were scary, when they had relevancy. Somebody says, what is a Chucky even? Well, that's the thing. People don't know that the series is called Child's Play. People just refer to it as Chucky. I'm going to watch Chucky tonight. So I always thought that was really funny. I'm just going to turn this down a little bit here. I tried to put some horror theme music in the background for you guys. Have I had Burger King yet? You're damn right I did. You're damn right I did. Absolutely. Now, I want to actually get into one of my favorites. See, there's no script here. I'm just kind of doing this like in order. What's up, Emo Snacks, tonight? Good to see you. Yeah, some of these are creepy. Now, honestly, I'm going to get kind of worked up because I'm actually going to celebrate one of my favorite horror character / franchises that I think is like a step above most of them. And I'm curious if any of you are going to agree. And that would be Nightmare on Elm Street. This was another one, man, that I just remember like looking at the VHS covers, and they did eventually start calling them Chucky movies. Yeah, that is true. Bride of Chucky. That is a way of looking at it. They did essentially take that marketing to that direction. SS Wet Willie has super chatted $10. Oops. And says, let's get wild. Yeah, let's get wild. Let's celebrate my youth. I feel like I'm in my 20s again tonight, guys. I really do. Like I said, I'm getting definition now, so you better watch out. Anyway, we're getting away from that. But yeah, this is a series I think really stands the test of time, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, this was the release that I distinctively remember kind of being on the shelves at the time that I was able to buy these movies and watch them. And this was the first one. And man, this first one, man, is just like so good, so fantastical, so full of imagination. And like genuinely scary, like actually genuinely scary. There's so many creepy parts to this movie, like even the intro where he's just kind of walking around in the boiler room and all this stuff. It was one of those, even that little picture of him there I think is awesome. But this was one that really, I remember, captivated that exact feeling of walking through the video store and just like imagining what these movies would be like. I think it's a good movie that shows enough of the character, but it's still kind of scary. Yeah, the French tax. That is one thing we have to deal with in Canada when it comes to being a physical collector, man. We have to deal with that effing French garbage crap. And it sucks. But, yeah, great movie. Can't say enough about it. Even the premise of like a child murderer that's like, you know, the parents like band together and they kind of take him out and he vows revenge. I think that's like a pretty dark, like heavy topic to cover. You know, eventually it was like, what, he's wearing sunglasses and like doing Darth Vader parodies or whatever, but just this pure first release was awesome. Definitely I'll be watching it. Yeah, dude, when it came to French class, what was I doing? You know, I was running around doing my own thing, probably smoking some pot or something. But yes, feel free to add me on Discord because we will be taking some calls tonight if you guys want to talk horror. But again, so this was kind of the other, I'm going to actually, yeah, because that music is kind of throwing me off. Yeah, exactly. Freddy is not a redeemable character. Like, he's a genuinely evil, sick character. And that's what I kind of like about it. By the time you get forward, it kind of lost its quality. Like, I do remember this one. I remember watching this one, and I didn't really enjoy it very much. It does really have that, you know, coming to terms with your sexuality aspect that's been, you know, a lot of debate. But I think, of course, and a lot of people know this, I think the series really hit its peak with 3, which is awesome. You know, after being, you know, myself in the hospital a few times, I've been in rehab, I've been institutionalized. And I do think it's a very scary concept to be like in a place that you can't leave, right? Like, you know, if they wanted, they could just keep you there and you're never gonna leave. You know, thank God we have respectable doctors and nurses. But this is like sort of like a hospital ethic based horror movie. You know, if you guys, I'm sure you guys have seen, I'm not going to explain the movie, but this I think is when Nightmare on Elm Street really hit its peak. Like, absolutely. This movie is just so good, so awesome, so cool. A lot of good kills. And it started to lean a little bit more into that fantastical element. And it also, yeah, I mean, that concept alone, like you're in a hospital and you can't sleep or this, you know, fantastical force is going to kill you. So big fan of this movie. As of merchandise, I don't really know if there's a lot of Friday the 13th merchandise. Like, let's take a look. I'll put like action figure, I guess. But yeah, I'm so glad you guys are, what is this walking butt puddle talking about? That's disgusting, dude. This is hot for physical. This is celebrating horror, dude. But yeah, I think a lot of people, I don't know, like, I'm really not an action figure collector. My father is. You know, my father in his 70s is. And he collects like these. But these are pretty effing cool. Like these effing NECA horror pieces are really cool. Yeah, let's get some subs. Let's get some subs tonight. As, you know, all the other products say. Nothing wrong with saying it. Nothing wrong with coming out about it. Freddy figures have been around. I remember my cousin having a bunch in the 90s. Well, that is cool. And it is really funny, too, because I think there's a lot about these characters, like, before my time, that became, like, very attractive to children. And again, I think that's because of the franchisation of a lot of these characters, right? Again, I like to try to think of them just as like evil characters, not like a fun superhero-esque franchise merchandise machine. So that is kind of what I kind of want to go for tonight. Oh, we got another super chat. Let me read that. DCGM25 super chatted $5 and he says, "You freaking coward." Calling me an effing coward. Man, I don't know how they do this, baby. I don't know how they come up with this crap. You never beat Donkey Kong Bonanza. Well, that is true. You never fully celebrated and paid homage to the original Ape and Jungle. You didn't show respect. Maybe he's right. Maybe he is right there. Maybe I didn't, although I did beat the first one. So I do think that was enough of a celebration. I just didn't think people were very interested in that game. Now, what I can say is I actually went back and I played it for like another 5-6 hours or something, like on my own. And it's amazing. I really do love that game, man. It's great. But thank you for your contribution. You had your chance to get on your soapbox and call me an effing coward. Now either, you know, shut up or get the F out. Like, that's all that has to be said. Now, I also want to thank Jamie for some gifted subs. No, I like the new Donkey Kong. I mean, like I said, I mean, a lot of times I had to tell myself this maybe isn't my Donkey Kong, but it is, you know, a new era now. And sometimes you gotta celebrate it. But maybe he's right. But anyway, continuing on. And like I said, remember to add me on Discord, because when we hit about an hour, we're gonna take it to the phones. And we're gonna kind of talk about your guys' memories. I kind of want to hear how you guys got into horror, some of your favorite characters, some of your favorite franchises. That's right, baby. You changed us, Jamie. Tonight, thank you. Zanid says, "Yo, how's it going, PWR?" Well, thank you. I'm doing good. I appreciate you. Now let's get into something that I think is going to be controversial. I think this is going to be controversial, but I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to give my full take on it. Now, this is a really popular horror franchise that I think a lot of you guys have grown up with. And I think depending on the era that you were born, I think, you know, Jason, you know, definitely has a spot in a lot of people's hearts. But I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I am going to be straight up honest with you. I think they're garbage. Like, honestly, I don't like them. Now, I'm going to be honest. Again, they were a series that, you know, would really spin my imagination. You know, about what these movies would be like how scary they were, how violent they were, you know, whatever. Which like I said, I thought really captured for me with the first Child's Play and the first Nightmare on Elm Street. But when I got into Friday the 13th, I was so disappointed. I was just, even then, you know, like 13, 14, 15, I would save up as much money as I could and I'd get one. And actually, the first one I actually did get is right here. The second one. Again, we got the crappy Canadian French on our physical, which needs to be completely whited out. But, you know, from what I understood back then, this was the first one that actually had Jason. And you know what? I'll stand on my own right now and say I think this is the best one out of all of them. Maybe Freddy vs. Jason might be the other, like, decent quality. I think as far as a horror movie, as far as like a realistic scenario and a pretty haunting scenario, I think the second one is the best. I just love the bag over the head is like pretty creepy and pretty cool. Now I know a lot of people are about the iconic hockey mask. Yeah, sure. I thought the whole bag over the head thing was a lot creepier. I love the scene where they find his cabin and it's all like, you know, torn up and you see the mother's head. Like, I think this is a really, really good one. But the rest of them, man, I never got it. He's a cool looking character. He does get a lot of really good kills, for sure. But just as far as like a story, I never liked them. I never was into them. But I've seen them all. And to be honest, I just don't think PWR is back to the career. You're damn right I am. And there is no little girlfriend here. If there was a girlfriend, do you really think I'd be sacrificing my time to sit here and celebrate horror, celebrate violence, cool movies, cool characters? But I'm curious, what do you guys think? I mean, let's read some comments. Do you think Friday the 13th is overrated? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's just a product of its time? Because again, when we talk about the sort of franchisization of a lot of these characters, I think that's all they kind of became was, hey, we're making money, and the more money they made, the less I think they had to really put thought into these movies. Yeah, dumb teenagers will watch it, which is a shame. Which is really a shame. I was always a Nightmare on Elm Street dude. Yeah, me too. Someone says Halloween 5 is not a Friday the 13th movie. No, that's lies. Saying the reason I've been gone is because I found, but the reason I've been gone is because all I could do was just lay in bed and look at the ceiling. And by the next time I knew it, it was like a week later, and I was like, oh my God. You know, I think a lot of people don't understand, you know, certain moods that I get into are like so debilitating that like I can't move at times, but we're over it. I'm back. Like I said, I feel like I've gotten my youth back. Now, I really like what this guy says here. Little Soft Hand says any horror movie with that many sequels just means the first one was amazing. That's a good point. That's a really good point. No, I don't need a piece of ass. This is Halloween season, dude. Now, a lot of people have been asking, you know, about the gaming and stuff. I've been really trying to find something horror to play and, you know, maybe defeat. And I'd like it to be something modern. I was kind of dancing around the idea of doing Silent Hill 2 remake or Silent Hill F. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. That's not what that's about right now, but I had a lot of people ask me. Tyler the Perfect Storm knows exactly the promo I'm talking about, brother. Yeah, the alternative is hot tonight. I really appreciate you guys coming out for this, because this is something I'm kind of passionate about. And like I said earlier, what brought me to this was when I was driving around and I was, I went to Walmart and I went to the drugstore, I went to Target, and I was like, you know what? I'm not seeing enough horror represented the way it used to be. I used to remember the big shelves of all the horror movies and stuff. And I mean, now with streaming and all that stuff, it's kind of lost its importance. But man, I just always loved that. What happened to the game where you ate people? Oh, The Forest. Somebody says play The Quarry, and that was something that I wanted to play. But anyway, back to Friday the 13th. So actually, you know what is really interesting? And I wonder if anybody's felt the same way. Was, interestingly enough, my first interaction with this game was this, actually. The Friday the 13th Nintendo game. Oh, this is cool. No Better Than a Man says it's not modern, but I'm currently playing House of Necropolis, a Resident Evil inspired dungeon crawler with a retro look. Man, that sounds effing cool, man. Nice. Yeah, I was thinking of playing The Quarry, actually, so we'll wait and see. But this was my introduction to Friday the 13th, and I'll never forget it, man. I have such a cool memory of this game. My grandfather, who introduced me to like Atari, when I was, 6, 7, or 8, he had like an NES that I played like a few times. It was like boxed away in his garage or something. And sometimes if I was being babysat, like he would pull it down for me. So he used to do like stained glass or whatever. So he had this big studio in his basement, right? Like almost like the whole house was a basement type thing. And I remember being down there one night and just like, or one afternoon, one evening, and I was playing the NES and I was looking through the games and he had this one. And just from seeing like Jason and Friday the 13th in the video stores and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna play this. Man, this game creeped me the F out. And honestly, this was probably like 2001, 2002, somewhere around then. And man, this game, I'll always say, I think this is actually a genuinely creepy game. If you play it in the right setting, if you play it in the right mood, take your time to realize it's not the best game. But if you love NES and you're just wanting that creepy atmosphere, this is a big hit. So I definitely wanted to share that memory. But unfortunately, not a lot to say about Friday the 13th. I'm kind of curious if we do get any callers, if they'll kind of want to share, their thoughts. But as far as I'm concerned, it's literally just the mask. The mask sells, just like Rey Mysterio. On WWE, right? Like it's the mask. The mask has a monetary value. People are going to buy the mask, and that's it. I just don't think there's much of a deeper story. And we do have Corey Feldman. We do have Corey Feldman actually featured in one or two of them. So shout out to Corey, baby. Now, this is a good question, and I will actually, well, I want to take some suggestions from the fans. I don't really have a plan here. I'm just talking, baby, just doing my thing. Now, somebody in the chat, now, what was his name? Masquerade Pusa. He asks, thoughts on Clock Tower? Now, honestly, I'm not an expert on it, but I have played the Super Nintendo game. And I absolutely effing love it. I think it's just like one of the most incredible Super Nintendo horror pieces that you can absolutely get. And I've never beaten it, but I have watched like a long play of it. Man, and that ending, Like that last sequence is just like mind-blowingly crazy. Love Clock Tower. I'd love to see it kind of come back and be, you know, celebrated a little bit more for the inspirational piece of horror that it really was. Oh, I've seen Corey Feldman's music. Like I said, when I was doing my demo, I tried to get him on my song, and he just stopped responding. So you could have had PWR and Corey laying it down, talking about our abuse. And that would have been really cool. But yeah, great question from that fan, Masquerade Pusta. Hopefully I covered it, but yeah, there it is. I think this is one of the just knockout, like if you love horror, I don't think you have a lot of options on Super Nintendo. There's a couple that kind of tread the line. Like I always thought like the Jurassic Park game, and they actually show it right here, was like kind of like a bit of like a horror game that I used to have. I didn't know much about Jurassic Park, but this one kind of had like a creepy bit of a horror atmosphere. But if you want like real horror, you're gonna want Clock Tower. A Clock Tower sequel or Clock Tower remaster would be crazy. I think they did that, didn't they? Isn't there one on the Switch that was released recently? It's like Clock Tower remaster or whatever. Now here's another good question from Todd Steinberg tonight. Do you like the VHS series on Shudder? I'm in the middle of the new one. It's mid so far, but I enjoyed the series. Yeah, dude, those are really good. Those VHS movies are really good. I've only seen the first two, and it's been a long time, but those are really effing good movies. Yeah, some of it, there is some disturbing stuff in it, actually. Like, there was one scene of a kid, like, biologically serving himself, which I thought was kind of disgusting. And that actually kind of like turned me off the series. I was like, that's a bit much. And that was just like a throwaway, nothing of a scene. But I was like, dude, you got to be pretty messed up to put that in a movie. Jurassic Park was almost a horror movie. Yeah, I've never seen the movie, but I played the game. But I mean, dinosaurs chasing after you. I mean, it throws itself to a horror concept. But anyway, I'm gonna move on to my next sort of now this is something I do have a lot of passion about, that I want to talk about, that I don't think I've really had a lot of like opportunity to speak openly about. But this is a movie I absolutely really do love, honestly, and I'm interested to hear other people's thoughts. I think The Blair Witch Project is like one of those like top 100 greatest horror movies of all time. Like, it's in there, you know, like, and I love it. I've probably seen this movie, you know, about 10 times in my life. And every time I watch it, I just always get so captivated, so wrapped up. And it's such a minimal piece of filmmaking that went like multi-million-dollar just based on the atmosphere alone. So you gotta give it to them. You gotta give them their props for that. I always thought it was such a creepy premise. I love the idea of, you know, here's the lore and here's the location, and then people just sort of wander into that. And like, I think those are like really cool types of movies. And this one does that really well. The concept, yeah, is very well. And I love just the art too, like the art of all the, you know, woodsy type stuff, all red and white, is just so creepy. But even though, you know, it kind of came out that it was fake and all creepy, like whatever, I still think it's great. I love it, and I just wanted to take a time to give it the shout out that I think it deserves, because it really did break a lot of ground. I seen it like really young, like before like I even like really knew much about horror. It was one of those like monumental things where like the whole family and the neighbors all watched it together, and I didn't really think too much of it. But I remember when I watched it again as like a teenager, like I was actually genuinely creeped out, and I just loved it. And some of the fans agree. They did some creative stuff to market this movie for sure. Lifting Dude says the shaky cam made me motion sick, just like Gears of War. Crumps Baby says, let's get physical. You're damn right. Let's get physical. Let's get some subs. Let's say screw the other products. Like I said, baby, I'm in my 20s again tonight. I'm in my peak again tonight. So let's do it. How do you join the Discord? You just add me as a friend, and I'll accept your friend request. And I'm just looking here now. We'll do a call live on the air here. So let's move to that now. Depth of Blair Witch went over the world's head. Well, yeah, that's the thing I liked about it, was the fact there was like a lore to it, right? And those people in the movie just kind of wandered into it, right? And I think that kind of went over to a lot of people's heads, because they want like a horror movie. They want a Jason. They want a Freddy. That's not exactly what this was, but man, it's just, I love how they did it. And they kind of like created their own lore. There's those old PC games that sort of get a little bit more into like the backstory. I've watched those like on long plays and stuff. But, well, the thing was, like, there was no killer. Like, that's what makes it even creepier. There was no like physical manifestation. It was like, you know, a haunting that either drove people to kill or, you know, end their own biological existence, is what I seen it as. Now, let's do it. I'm gonna pause the theme songs I have. I don't know why it's playing Donkey Kong Country, but we will pause that. Let me grab my phone here. Let me grab my headphones. And for the first time ever, we're going to be taking calls on Hot for Physical. So, like I said, add me on the Discord. Let's hear some of your guys' takes on horror. Let's hear what inspired you, what terrified you, what had you peeing your pants. You know, peeing in a bucket like I did over Silent Hill back in the day. So I'll give you guys a minute. I'll make sure I read your comments here as well. Found footage movie that's based off a good ARG equals greatness. I'm not sure what you mean by ARG, but cool. Sometimes the setting alone can make a good horror movie. I believe that as well. Very true. Actual reality game. No calls? No one wants to speak out openly? I'll give it a couple more minutes because I don't want to just stop. But I want to hear from some fans. PWR, have you watched a Serbian film? No, I have not heard of it. Oh, we do have a call here. Oh, my God. Welcome. You are on Hot for Physical, the horror edition. What is on your mind?
Hello. Hi, PWR. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you, dude?
Yeah, I'm doing good, dude. Just talking about horror movies. Have you ever watched Alien, the Alien franchise?
Of course. Yes, I did. And that's another one, dude. That's another one, like when I say, when you look at these movies from those standpoints of like just watching the first one before it became a character, like before it became a franchise, you know, something to put on the shelves. That is a really good example of just a crazy out there, great premise horror movie.
Yeah, agreed. Alien, the first one's my favorite. That's my favorite horror movie. Is Alien, 1979.
Yeah, can you believe that? A 70s film. A 70s film.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Now, what was it about it that really struck you? That stuck with you?
I like the horror. I like the special effects, the lighting, the cinematography. There's just so much that's groundbreaking in that movie. But yeah, just like the filmography, the way the sets look, the alien, the creature. There's a real mystery. There was before there was like a franchise.
Yeah.
It was just like just this great standalone concept of an alien on a spaceship.
Very cool.
And you have to, and it takes out everyone one at a time, and it was unknown. That's what made that first one so great.
And it really did bridge the gap.
Lore, but
it really did bridge the gap between like a horror piece and a sci-fi adventure.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is. That's also a good one. Yeah, the special effects, you get those cool like old school special effects that you just don't see anymore in movies. Everything's computers now, and you know, all the sets they did. You know, the set. You know, in the beginning when they're going to they find the spaceship and they land and
that part is always, I think, so underrated and just so fantastical and so interesting.
Yeah, so to get that effect, they had to they actually got a bunch of like little people or like midgets, and they got them in the suits, and they actually like filmed it. They filmed it against like the painting or like the matte background, and to make it look make the people look smaller just for that one shot. And there's just so much cool effects in that movie, and it's just a great story. Like so many cool scenes, like the face. That's just an iconic, you know, the face hugger when the first burst out. And you got the android character. It's just a classic film. Do you have any good memories of the other Alien movies? Because I like Aliens.
Not James really. I've seen them all. I've watched the first one like a handful of times, but I've only seen the rest of them like once or twice. So not. I didn't really like how they became more action focused.
Yeah, that is definitely a thing. I mean, I like Aliens like as a James Cameron film, but it is not really horror. It's switching over to more of an action franchise at that point.
But I gotta
they
say,
did return to horror. Yeah.
Oh, I would really recommend to you and anybody listening about Alien here. I can't remember the name. I think it's like Fire Team Bravo, but there is this really good horror alien like point and click game. I don't remember the name of it exactly, but it's like an overhead. It's kind of like XCOM-ish, and it's really good.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll make sure to look into that. An XCOM-like game, which is like horror.
Anyway.
Is that the recent one? Is that the Alien franchise game? Aliens Fireteam Elite?
Well, there's a few of them with very similar names, and I just can't remember it, but you could probably find it easily. But I'm going to leave it there.
Dark Descent, yeah. Okay,
yeah, Dark Descent.
Worries. Thank you for. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that one came out recently. Yeah, I've heard of this. Yeah, I haven't played it, but I want to give it a try.
All right, peace out. Thank you so much.
Maybe that would be a good stream game.
Maybe.
Thank you so much for taking my call.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. He was passionate about Alien, and actually, that was something that I wasn't really going to get into, but I'm glad that we did. I'm glad that somebody shared their passion for it. We got some other friend requests here, so I'm going to add them. I do want to make sure I give everybody who wants to chat a chance. So we'll just give a couple more minutes here, and then we'll put the music back on, and we'll do a bit more celebrating. Red Bull's up tonight. Somebody says, imagine if the face hugger grabbed onto butt instead. That would be pretty terrifying. Now we do have Xanix. Welcome.
Hello.
For the first time, we are doing call-ins on the Hot for Physical program. What is on your mind?
Oh, I just want to talk about horror. Have you ever seen John Carpenter's The Thing?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Yeah. I see that's one of the greatest horror films out there still.
Really?
And I've watched a ton of horror movies, yep.
Now, what was so captivating? You know, what really took it to that next level for you? I'm interested to hear.
Well, it's much like the last caller said. Now that everything's like CGI, the props that they used back then are just way scarier. CGI just hasn't reached that level. It's just not scary with the modern horror movies at all.
And again, what I love about that movie is the concept and the environment, right? Just the fact that this whole, I mean, this is a little hard to understand, but this whole situation is just taking place in like one part of the world. But, you know, imagine if it got out there, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool.
Yeah, the world. Yeah, it would be over. And did you know that John Carpenter actually, a few years ago on Twitter, he actually confirmed that one of them at the end of the movie is the Thing. He
Really?
won't tell us which one. Yep. Because we don't know at the end of the movie, but he says one of them is the Thing. They
Great,
told everyone that.
great ending. Yeah, I love that ending. That was a really cool. I love those types of like up to your own imagination horror endings because I think in horror not everything needs to be spelt out to the letter. But it's cool that he reached back out to the fans and kind of gave them closure. I never heard of that.
Yeah, and for sure. Also just the way he directs movies, he does it really well. Like the directions, how he does the movies. Like he doesn't use a cheap, jump scare every like 5 minutes. And it's just really well done.
And again, it's interesting. You're the second caller that talked about a franchise that wasn't only just horror, but was almost, again, that branching of sci-fi fantasy and horror.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Alien movies are also, like, the first two are really good. I don't like any of them after that, but the first one and Aliens are both great. Then it just goes downhill after that, though.
Yeah.
Those two are really good. Also, I have a suggestion for you
Sure.
for hard games. It's not like a really big hard game, but so for Doom 3, alright, they actually made it into an atmospheric, like more of a hard game. It's different than the other Doom games.
Yeah.
That could be a fun one to stream.
I have played it.
really fun.
I love that game. That game
Oh,
is
you played
really
it?
good. Oh yes, I have played Doom 3 back when it was
Yeah.
like originally on the shelves.
Yeah, I played that back during my childhood as well. And that was really scary at first, but then once I got a little older, it's not too scary. You have guns, you can just kill all the demons, but
And it's actually
There was no
shocking too, because if you look back at that original release, there was that whole flashlight mechanic. But if you play any of the more modern re-releases, they took that out.
yep. No, it's just automated on. It's always on. You don't have to switch between your gun and your flashlight, and that takes away from the heart.
I agree.
That's why I like playing older editions better.
100%. Anyway, thank you very much for your call, and thank you for having something that you were passionate to speak openly about with us here.
I mean, thanks for having me on. You have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Wow. I mean, I never thought that fans would just come out openly and want to speak to old PWR about their favorite horror franchises. I very much appreciate it. I'm going to give one more person a chance because, like, it is true. It is true. The lines are not as hot as they once were. But I want to give people a chance and then we'll kind of move on forward. People are talking about Alien Isolation. I like that game too. I didn't get very far in it, but I did like it. I like those like robots that chase you around. Those are effing creepy. Especially when they like strangle you to death and they're like grabbing your neck and like that's cool. I like that. But I played that on the PS4 and like I said, when I had my PS4. Oh, 1 second. We do have a fan that's wanting to speak openly. Hold on a second and we'll get you on the air here. Welcome. For the first time ever, we are opening the lines for Hot for Physical on this initial horror episode. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, dude. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. What's on your mind?
I mean, I don't know if you actually tried Clock Tower, but it's actually great. It's a great game, dude.
I
So
have,
you might
yes, I have. I never beat it, but I have played it, and I did watch like a long play of like somebody actually beating it.
Dude, you gotta try it. It's a great game, and there's no failing point in it. You can get like 6 different endings. They're all very good.
Which is incredibly
You gotta try it.
revolutionary for Super Nintendo.
Yeah, and it's like a point-and-click adventure, so
Yeah.
you can't go wrong. But it's got that layer of uncertainty built in. You gotta try it, dude.
Yeah, no, I have played. I don't know if you mean like on stream, but no, I've played it. I've celebrated
You
it.
gotta show it to the people.
I have to show it to the people.
Yeah.
I like the way you're saying that, brother. Maybe I will.
Yeah, dude, you gotta try it and you gotta show it to the people because the people don't know how good horror on the Super Nintendo system can be. I mean, there's no horror game on that system, and that system really shines when it comes to atmosphere and stuff.
Yeah, that is
It's very
true.
interesting.
That is true. Now, I love the way you put it, that the fans need to see it. That's got me worked up.
They need to see it, dude.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to let you go there. Thank you so much for your call. And thank you for your
Thank you for
passion.
your time, dude.
Oh, you're
Keep on
welcome.
trucking.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Incredible. Now, he was saying the fans need to see it. I think that's really cool. So we'll end the call-in portions for now. We'll bring them back, but I'll leave it open here in case any fans want to speak. I did see we had Katie the cat on there saying hello and saying she likes the dumb horror movies. Well, I love some dumb horror movies too. So I get what you're saying there. So we'll put a little music back on here. And we'll get back to it. Now, I want to talk about another franchise. Again, that just means so much. And I haven't even talked about the big elephant in the room yet. But maybe we'll get there when it comes. But I want to talk about one movie that I think is like unbelievable, like honestly, like incredible. And that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And we're not talking this remake crap. We're talking the original, dude. Like the original. Now, it was always kind of funny because this movie always kind of had like this real aura to it. Because I remember my grandmother, who was like a big movie buff. I think she watched a lot of movies like in those eras. She used to tell me stories of when she went, and I don't know if this is true or not, but it always really like captivated me how she would say like that movie was so disgusting and so scary that people were like throwing up and crying in the theater over it. Now, I absolutely love this movie. I've seen it so many times. And again, it's a combination of like a great setting and sort of in a way like a great untold story. You know, you don't really know what was going on, you know, what the whole real story is, but there's a lore and there's a story going on that the characters just kind of wander into. Now, I love movies like that. You don't need everything explained. And I think this is a great example of that. Somebody says I really can't appreciate the original Chainsaw Massacre. Dude, I think it's like one of the greatest of all time. Because it really does have that sort of like found footage a bit feeling. I think some of the characters, like Leatherface himself, was like probably like a pretty mind-bending type character back then. And I think it was really cool. Especially the whole thing with the dead grandfather. I thought that was really cool, really awesome. I really loved the game. The game was effing awesome. The game was like a love letter to like this first movie. And it's kind of a shame what happened to it. I think it's mostly like unplayable now. But Masquerade Pusta says original Chainsaw is so creepy. And yeah, that's what I love about it. It's not like a chill horror movie. It's like an intense, like really edgier seat, dirty, you know, grimy type horror movie, man. And I love it. And as the franchise went, it clearly went down in quality. But the second one, I actually did watch recently, and I thought it was a lot of fun. It was really entertaining. It was clearly nothing like the first one, but I really had this sense like they were kind of having fun with it, and I absolutely love the sheriff who like goes crazy and he's like, take it all down, like, tear it all down. Like, that is awesome, man. I was reading about Ed Gein, but we'll get into that. I didn't have my say on my 8-hour Ed Gein marathon, so we will talk about that as well. Sporkio says, I don't know if it was considered horror, but I watched The Cell, and it scared me for a long time. I've never heard of that. So, I mean, I could have heard of it. I could have seen it on the shelves. It doesn't ring a bell, though. But, again, this isn't like a list or anything, but I would say if I had to put together like my top 10 favorite horror movies, this would definitely be on it. I love this movie. And again, it's not something I'll always just throw on because I like watching it, but I do love like the uncomfortability. There's so many great stories behind the scenes of how everything was kind of real. A lot of the props were handmade and all this crazy stuff. Now, just one second, because I'm kind of out of focus here. You know, it's been a long time, you know, since I've been doing my thing. But we do have some super chats I want to make sure I read out. So we do have Anovi has super chatted $10 and says, I'm hot for Resident Evil 2 on PS1. Dude, I am too. I effing love Resident Evil 2. Man, I'm still effing waiting with my hands crossed, down on my knees. Like, we need Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, like, re-released to be able to... Like, dude, we need, like, a Switch physical cartridge with the first 3 Resident Evils on it. Like, we need it. It's been too long. Especially with all these collections. Like, we got the Castlevania collections. We got, like, tons of them now. You know, the Marvel vs. Capcom, like, all this stuff. Where is our effing Resident Evil collection? But yeah, anyway, so not much to say, but I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, I did actually, it's funny too, because I seen this one first, like the, actually, and speaking of that, I'm going to put on some Resident Evil music. I effing love Resident Evil music. So we'll put that on while we talk. And, celebrate horror. But yeah, the remake I think was good, but it to me, I mean, if you go back and watch the first one and then watch the remake is a lot more Hollywood. I think it's still really brutal, still really violent. I think the guy who does the Leatherface is pretty intimidating, pretty scary, but I think there's like a rawness to the original that like can't be matched. I mean, it's just so cool. And the fact that could be happening, you know, like that's what I love about it too, is like it's so creepy and it is like fantastical, but at the same time, like that could be happening. Like we just don't know, you know, out there somewhere on some farmhouse. Like, and that's kind of what I really like about it. Anothi says, I saw Texas Chainsaw at a sleepover when I was 13. When the old guy kills the piece of butt with the chainsaw accidentally, I was pissed. That's the new one, right? But again, it's a really shame. It's a big shame because I can't say much about it. But the experience of playing this game, man, was so good. I loved it. Now I was gonna get it and I was gonna play it on stream, but I read so many comments that say basically you can't get into lobbies anymore, blah blah blah. But honestly, I think this is made by the same people who made like the Friday the 13th one. This was just like such a love letter to the first movie, and I loved it. I thought it was great. The sheer horror of playing as the survivor and, you know, escaping and knowing that Leatherface is down there with you was like one of the greatest horror game moments of all time. Fire in the Sky messed me up as a kid growing up in the boonies. That's another one too. It's really interesting because a lot of you guys are kind of mentioning more like sci-fi horror that I didn't really think. I was just going to go for like the classic slashers and stuff that I remember, but we will get to that as well. Yeah, I like the old man. I think that's so creepy. And like, it's almost like you don't know if he's like actually still alive or not. And again, I think another great love letter to Texas Chainsaw, and you can disagree with me or not, was Resident Evil 7. I thought Resident Evil 7 was like so inspired by Texas Chainsaw with its own spin. But I love this game. Honestly, I would say it's probably my top 5 like favorite Resident Evils of all time, and I love it. And that's because I can feel the inspiration, but at the same time, it's kind of got a little bit of that Japanese-ishness to it, which I think kind of really makes it interesting. I love that game. I'm just reading some of your comments here. Did you watch the other products Twilight Zone? No, I didn't. Evil Dead. Actually, no, that's a horror movie I've never watched. Let me, I don't have much to say about it, but this is one I never watched, and maybe like that's a bad choice, but I always thought it was like supposed to be like a comedy. Cause like I seen the clips and stuff, and like the guy with the shotgun on his arm and stuff, and I was always like, I don't think I'd really like that, cause I always thought it was supposed to be like a slasher comedy. So I never really like gave it a chance before. So I don't have too much to say about it. Recommended. Like, should I check it out or should I just not bother? I don't know. Critique the Critics is in the house tonight. How are you, baby? Oh, somebody says Evil Dead is hot. The first one is pure horror. Okay. Maybe I'll have something to watch tonight then. Now, I'm going to transition to another, I don't know if you would call it series. I guess it kind of is a series. But this is actually one that I watched again while I wasn't streaming. And I was really, like, surprised. It. With the clown character here. I thought this was a really good story. Interesting concept. How it kind of goes beyond like a slasher villain. Like, it's not just some guy dressed up as a clown, like, you know, killing people. It's actually like this crazy, like, once you understand it, it's like this like cosmic evil force that like torments people and has all these abilities and stuff. So I was like really quite interested in it. I remember watching it when I was kind of young. I think my dad just like gave me the DVD of it in like the 2000s. He's like, here, you might like this. But it was like kind of so much more than I could have like really imagined at that time. So like this is one I always kind of give credit to as well, and I watched it recently and I thought it was still really creepy. For sure. Somebody says so creepy, I'm still scared of clowns. I've never really been scared of clowns, but like this is like beyond scared of clowns, because the scary thing is about it, from what I understand, is like it uses a clown to like lure kids. Right? I guess. So that's pretty cool. Now, another franchise I do want to speak a bit about, and I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate the support. We're getting incredible support tonight. Fans are hot for the return of Hot for Physical. I can't do scary movies, and I like the movie a lot. Yeah, it was a good story. Like it wasn't just like a slasher. It was actually like a very well done, a little much. You should look up the terrible clown movie called Mr. Jingles. I've seen it actually, but we'll get into the franchise that I'm wearing tonight. Actually, that I got at Giant Tiger, the land of the XL and the XL2. I actually found a freaking medium. Skazo, thank you so much, has gifted 2 subscriptions over on The Alternative. I appreciate that tonight. We are back tonight doing our thing. And I just thought this would be a great topic to get me out of bed. get me going again. So let's celebrate it. Let's talk about it. I guess I got to put series. Okay. Now, this is another one. Was the worst movie you've ever seen, or is it my worst bottom 5? I'd have to really think about that, because like I like all horror movies. Like I was watching like The Ice Cream Man, you know, and I like that. So that was it's hard for me to rank like the worst horror movies. I'm sure I could think of a couple. If any come to mind, I'll bring them up. But this is another, again, when you look at this character, and you look at this franchise, and I remember these too. I remember you used to be able to get these at Walmart. This is what I'm talking about, dude. Like just being a kid and looking at the back of this and just seeing that, like alone, like, you know, little pictures like that. It just spoke volumes. But I do remember that seeing, like, you know, and that's what I miss. That's why I'm doing this, because I remember like seeing you could get these DVDs, you know, everywhere around Halloween. But Halloween is a really great movie. It is. Because it's literally just like a guy in a mask chasing after people. No reason. You know, we don't know what he wants. Does he want anything? Is he just like a maniac? And I really like that concept because it adds like a layer of like mystery to it. Did I ever see the twist ending of Sleepaway Camp? Yes, I did, and maybe we'll talk about that in a bit. But I think what really makes this movie special too, that a lot of people forget, because it's like these movies, these characters are so distorted and so twisted into like a marketing machine that I think you really lose sight of like what made them special. And what I thought really made this movie special was the fact that, like, this could happen. This could just be anything that could happen. But at the same time, like, at the end when they shoot him and he's gone, like, that's great cinema. Like, that's a great edgier seat cliffhanger. And I think if they wouldn't have made sequels and made it a franchise, like, that would have been, like, a really powerful ending. Like if they just made the one Halloween movie and that was it. Because there is a second one and I have seen it. I think kind of whatever, they blow them up or whatever. But I always loved the ending of this movie. I just thought it was so, for that era, like it was just so cool. And it kind of, I think it kind of like birthed that slasher genre for good and for bad. But there was so many of these movies. I don't know if I've seen them all. I'm trying to see if I can look at all of the movies here and see which ones. Somebody says there's a 14. Yeah, there's a lot. And they like rebooted the franchise like twice. So I think that's like one of the only horror franchises where they actually rebooted the series twice. Maybe I'm wrong. It was a gateway into horror. But yeah, as it went on, it just got worse and worse. Became basically like a parody of itself. I think this is all of them here. Yeah, the first one, the second one, the third one, which I've never seen because, you know, it doesn't even have the character. 4 or 5. Yeah, they're all garbage, basically. Like, the first one is good, the second one was fair enough, and then the rest of them are just, like, pretty much garbage. Which is, like, a shocking trend. Oh, that's another one, too, we should talk about, actually, because I'm really excited, because that is actually going to be coming back to prominence here. Yeah, if you guys want to call, you can. Let me take another look and see if we have anybody interested here, because I kind of been talking. We had a few callers, and I'm thankful for that, but I'll look at my Discord here right now, and I'll read your comments. We got someone. We got Setith, the Terror. How are you, brother?
and I got to get to my shift pretty soon. But
Sure.
I don't want to say, I was pretty meh on the It series for a while. I'm more the slasher guy. I like that, Freddy Krueger or the Jason Voorhees
Yeah.
type of horror. But I had an incident a couple days. I called in earlier talking about my nice lady friend, and so I get home from work one day and I hear a knock at the door, and I come up and there's this dude in a clown costume just standing there, and I'm like, what's this about? Apparently, he said there was a birthday party here or something. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he had. But I went back and watched it after that, and yeah, I'm pretty set in stone. Clowns are scary.
Oh yeah,
I'm not
well
gonna
they
lie.
are if they're like not in the situation where you would come across them.
Exactly. Like, you feel like, you go to the circus, you're gonna see a clown. You're in your house, and there's a clown showing up. It's a little jarring. You want to say?
Now,
I mean,
I want to ask you, as far as that movie and that story, like what was it beyond just the character that drew you in, that captivated your imagination?
I started off, like, okay, a clown's not really scary. Like, it's just a dude, and it just looks a little out of place. But it kind of, when you hit the realism of it, it's just the out of placeness of everything. Like the lady friend that I'm with, her son hates clowns. He refuses to watch it completely. He's like, I don't want it. I don't want to see it. I'm gonna stay downstairs when you're watching that. I'm not going upstairs. And the character develops nice, and I like the story of it. I just couldn't really find him scary, even,
Right.
He's doing all that weird stuff. But it's something about a clown just showing up at your doorstep, asking to perform for a kid's birthday party or something. You got no clue who this man is. It's just a little scary. I'm not gonna remember when Halloween, when all those clowns were walking around? That was a crazy time back then.
Well, I want to thank
I
you
can
for your
kinda see it.
call, and I want to warn
Of
you:
course.
lock your door, lock your
Of
windows,
course. We're staying safe.
because somebody could be showing up tonight.
Exactly. Don't want
There's a little bit of terror for him. Okay, 1 second. Somebody says thoughts on the Chucky movies. Actually, that was the first franchise I talked about. Flank Garvan. So if you want to, after the show, if you want to watch the replay, I can cover that for you. So we'll give guys another chance, because I love hearing other people's experiences with horror. Yeah, I'm hot for callers tonight. Let's get it. Let's get that support. Screw the effing detractors saying I'm robbing the community. We're doing our thing. We're speaking with the fans. We're celebrating. We're a hot career commodity. Let's do it like they do it. All right. Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. So I'll give you guys another minute here. Here we go. Oh, that's... Who's this? Oh. Welcome. For the first time ever, we are taking calls on this special horror edition of Hot for Physical. What do you got to say?
Oh, I just wanted to say, I remember when I was in kindergarten, hearing kids talk about Chucky,
Yeah.
about how scary it was.
Yeah. And did you get a chance to watch it? Like, what were your thoughts on it when you actually watched it?
It's not scary.
You don't think the first one is? I think the first one is genuinely creepy.
Maybe when you think that the kid might have a hand in the killings.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that maybe?
Well, interesting. Anything else you want to ask or speak about?
It's good to see you back.
Oh, thank you. Wow.
You're a positive force.
I'm a positive force. Wow. Thank you.
Just keep going, man.
Wow. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Listen, I can't believe that You know, I didn't get to speak about my experience, but literally I was in bed, like laying down, staring at the ceiling, like I couldn't move. Like that's the level of depression, like, you know, my depression or whatever, like that's the level I was at. Was like, I can't move, I can't live anymore. And man, when I reach out to the fans and they're saying, you know, you're a positive force, like that's incredible, man. Now, before we speak about Hellraiser, let's see if one more person wants to call in and talk horror tonight. I'll give you guys a minute. Oh, the Lipstick Larry baby is answering the call, and he just dropped 5 major hot subscriptions over on The Alternative. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Call in. People are asking if they can call in. Just feel free. Press that button, and you're on with the man himself here. Katie the cat says, I did that for 2 days. I did that for like a week. And here we go. We got another fan. Thank you so much for calling in. This is a moment. We've never done calls on Hot for Physical. We're talking horror. What's on your mind?
Beautiful. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thanks. First of all, English is not my first language, so thanks for the positivity.
You're welcome.
Thanks. And you gotta give a chance to Halloween 3. I know it's not, you know, the Halloween movie you're expecting, but it is very good as it is. Interesting. It is very strange. It's going to the roots of what it is as a pagan you know, feast. In many ways, it's very interesting. It's more of a thriller, I'd say.
Nice.
But you gotta try.
Nothing wrong with that.
The Halloween 3.
Yeah, I will. Actually, I'm taking suggestions tonight. Anybody who mentions anything that catches my interest, I'll put on my list. And that just made the list. So Halloween 3 will be sampled.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And frankly, I'm not a Halloween expert. I started out with maybe Halloween 4.
Yeah.
To give you an idea. But Halloween 3 is very strange, and I do understand that John Carpenter, the director, tried to go into a different type of story, and it's very interesting as it is.
Yeah, again, I think I've heard that story before, that there was a vision of making it like an anthology. But like those characters, again, we talked about the franchisability of these characters, and they just kind of took off because, people will watch it. You know, I think once the horror movies became that, like, teenagers will come watch it on a Friday night.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the movies and the characters really lost a lot of what made them scary.
I think, Michael Myers kind of became a hero in some sense, and it's not supposed to be, you know?
Exactly. Good point. Anyway, thank you so much for your call. You know, reach out anytime, be a part of the community. We appreciate you do.
With pleasure.
You're welcome.
You're doing great.
Oh, thank you.
Keep on trucking and don't be...
Thank you. Oh, I accidentally hung up on him. Thanks for your kind words. I did accidentally hang up on you, but that's okay. Now, let's talk about Hellraiser, because I do really think this is a pretty cool franchise. It's very fantastical, like incredibly fantastical. And I think the deeper that you get into it, the crazier it gets. But in my opinion, I really enjoy the first 2. I think the second one is like incredible. Like the whole lore and that whole labyrinth, and you get like a sense of the grand scale. I think makes it one of the most unique horror movies coming. And actually, there is a game coming, and I don't know too much about it. If anybody wants to let me know what it's gonna be like. I think it's supposed to be like a storyline based kind of thing. I'm not sure, but I'm interested in it. Any horror franchise game that is not like an online multiplayer chase fest, I'm totally gonna be there. And I'm expecting big things from this. I think it is a narrative base, like it might be like a Detroit Become Human type thing, which I think would be a great direction for some of these horror games to go. And it just seems like they're afraid to do it. Now, this is effing cool. Now, this... Now, who doesn't want this Dennis Rodman Hellraiser shirt? Man, that's effing cool. Now, I agree. I actually like, you know what the truth is? I like Hellraiser 3. Like, that whole concept, hell on earth, is, like, pretty cool. I always really like, I mean, it's not much, but I always really like this box art, too, like the city in the background. What started in hell will end on earth. I always thought that was so cool. That was like another one I remember seeing as a kid. And just the ideas that it gave me. And the fantasies that would like come to mind. And like imagining what those movies are like. And I think Hellraiser is like another one that really did a great job captivating that. Again, a lot of these movies I watch much later on. So I'll never have the joy of, you know, seeing a lot of these movies when they're actually, like, initially released. But seeing them in, like, the mid-2000s, I think there was still a lot to enjoy. Yeah, the movies kind of get crazy. The one on the spaceship, I don't even know what that was, but I do remember that, and that was effing nuts. There's like 2 stories going on, one in the past and one in space. It was about like the creation of the box and stuff. Yeah, it's a little over your head fantastical, but very cool series. I think they actually did a recent one that's supposed to be more closer to the book. I actually do have the book. That's like one of my favorite types of books to read, actually, is like the books that were based on famous horror movies. Those are like some of my favorite books to read. The story of the toy maker making the box and the skinning of the chick without cutting her. Yeah, that was effing disturbing. Puppet Master, I did see those actually recently. Those are really cool. Honestly, I like those Puppet Master movies are really good. Now, I want to talk about something that I really do want to celebrate that I didn't celebrate properly. And when I did celebrate it, it really did blow my mind. And this might lead into like another thing, but Psycho. As you hear the music coming, this is such an incredible movie. And like, I think enough has been said about it that I don't think I'm going to add much to it. But what I can say is, for the longest time, and probably until about 2015, I always just thought of it as like, oh, this old black and white movie where a guy stabs people. Like, what's the big deal about that? But it's so much more than that, as I would say. So much more than that. And I absolutely love it. I can see, like, how it was so influential. And you know what the truth is, man? When I actually finally did watch this movie and finally, like, actually appreciated it, I thought it was better than like anything else, like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, like all of them. I was like, this is a real effing good horror movie, man. And it was so like ahead of its time and so true to life, but had such an fantastical element that I don't think people were ready for at that time, which made it, you know, really iconic. You know, I think if a movie like that came out today, people just, you know, it'd be on Tubi or something and people wouldn't give it a second thought. But I when I finally did watch it and understood it, I liked it. And what I really want to speak about as well is there's actually sequels. There's actually sequels. And one of the best ones I would recommend 100% is Psycho effing 2. An awesome effing movie. What I love about it too is it's kind of got like a little bit of humor to it, like a little bit of humor to it. But it's a really good story, and the ending, it's like one of those movies that you'll watch and you'll not really know where it's gonna go by the end. But the ending is like really funny, and like I love Psycho 2. Psycho, the original, it is what it is, but Psycho 2 might be like one of my favorites. I absolutely love the part when he's like on the phone and he's like, "Yes, mother." Like, "You want me to kill?" And the guy's like, "No, Norman, it's not your mother. It's, I don't know, Officer Johnson or something." And he's like, "Yes, mother." It's the best. The acting is like really funny. And, oh, 1 second. And, I dated a lady that made me watch it every night. Oh my God, that's kind of disturbing. But anyway, so let's, now we're almost about an hour and 34 minutes. Let's get into another topic. But anyway, so these are very recommended. If you just think these are old, black and white, whatever, definitely give it a chance. I think you'll find something that you wouldn't have expected. But yeah, Psycho 2, one of my favorites. But I want to get into this a little bit because I never really got a chance to talk about this, which was like something, before Silence of the Lambs, there was Ed Monster, the Ed Gein story. Now, I watched it, the whole thing. I'm not going to give any kind of crazy, like, in-depth analysis, but I definitely want to talk about it because I do like, oh, this is kind of disturbing to say, but I'm like a big serial killer. I wouldn't say fan, but like serial killer connoisseur, I guess. Like, I read the books, I watch the documentaries. And it's kind of the same. Like, you got Jason, you got Freddy, you got Michael, you got Gein, you got Dahmer, you got Bundy, right? It's like some people kind of look at it from that same concept. But Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer is really good. I like that movie. That movie's really scary. But I think this series really failed. And I was heartbroken. I was legitimately heartbroken. So let me set the scene for you. And maybe after this, I doubt anybody might want to call in. But if anybody wants to call in and talk about what they thought of it, that would be cool. But actually, I'm going to pause the music while I get into this because I have a lot of thoughts. So I was really effing disappointed. There was like this monster series for the last couple of years, the Jeffrey Dahmer one that people remember. Then there was the Menendez brothers one, which I just watched recently as I was excited for this. But I've always been like a big Ed Gein fan. Like, I don't know if fan is the right word, but I like the story. I find the story very interesting. It definitely has like that fantastical quality to it, which is like, it's not just a guy running around stabbing people, right? There's like a lot of really dark, grotesque history behind it. And I think there's a lot of questions behind it. And I thought we were really going to get something powerful here because his story hasn't really been told in any kind of powerful way. Now, I believe the most powerful way the story was told was the 2000s movie. I think the actor who plays him is called Stephen Railsback or something. That was pretty good. An hour and 20 minutes. It was what it was, but it was a serviceable adaptation. But this was like honestly offensive to me. I wanted to see Ed's story told in a mature, powerful and thought-provoking way. And I don't think that's what this did. I thought it was a very like bizarre and now I tried to kind of justify that because like at first I was like, are they trying to go at it from the perspective of like his mind? But what did they do? Now fans, if you know what's going to have me hot about this series right off the get-go, what would it be? Let's just see. I want to see if anybody gets it. Now, what was it that pissed me off? All right, you want to know? They gave Ed Gein a piece of ass to run after and chase around. And I was like, what the hell is this? You know, 40% of like the show was based off some like bizarre like love interest that now it's interesting because there's a lot of research coming out now that apparently that woman was a real person that claimed that they had some kind of relationship with Ed, and then I guess years later it was like she lied about it. But like, yeah, it was shameful. You know, I thought this was going to be a really powerful, almost like Castaway-esque, you know, story of a guy and the things he did and the isolation he faced. And, you know, instead it turned into just complete debauchery. They lied. They showed him doing things that he never did, including having relations with somebody past their biological existence, which Ed never did. Ed never did that. You know, and I want to be somebody who comes out and, you know, says, I think there should be justice for Ed for that depiction. That was really distasteful and really wrong. The performance by this, I can't remember his name, Charlie Hunnam, who was famous for Sons of Anarchy, which I think a lot of people are very familiar with. I thought it was like a reasonable portrayal. It was a powerful, you know, reasonable portrayal. But I just thought the story wasn't told very well. And it was done in almost this sort of like, instead of like a story, it felt more like a celebration, you know, of the history and the lore. And I was really disappointed. So, I mean, I literally did sit there that whole night. It was like a Friday, I think it came out. I got my food and I just was like, okay, I'm watching the whole thing. And I watched the whole thing. And by the time it was over, man, I was quite disgusted. You know, I think Ed deserved better than that. And I honestly, I think I've pretty much sworn off this series. I think instead of calling it like the Ed Gein story, they could call it like a Ed Gein story, because it wasn't the story. There was aspects to it that were, you know, close to life, but it was pretty disappointing. And yes, the arms were crossed when they had like some 20-year-old blonde, nice ass running around with Ed Gein. I was like, no, that's not. Anywhere, any documentary that I've watched never alluded that there was a piece of ass involved. The Netflix Ted Bundy movie was, I liked that actually. The one with Zac Efron featured. I liked that movie. That was good, actually. But anyway, so there's some of my thoughts. And honestly, I've boycotted this series. I'm done with this series. I was so pissed off and I was so disgusted about what they did to Ed's legacy that I was like, I'm never watching any of these again. They're just garbage. You're better off just watching a documentary. I'm trying to think. There are parts. Like, I think the whole 8 hours could be edited down to like an hour and 20 minutes, and maybe it'd be passable. I did like the parts where they showed him as like an older man, because like that's something that like wasn't really touched upon like in his life. Because what is interesting about Ed was like a lot of what took place was before, you know, a lot of stuff could really be archived or, you know, reported on properly. So I think there was a lot of speculation and a lot of, you know, fantastical ideas of what really took place. Ed is the one that kept his mother's body. No, he didn't keep the mother's body, which they actually did get right in the show, because it shows him trying to dig up the body of the mother. But because of the way, I think they said something like the way the rain was in that part of the world, they would concrete the caskets, which they actually did get right in the show. Well, 8 hours, it was like a series. It was like 8 episodes, and each one was like an hour. Man, by the time I finished it, I was so exhausted and just so, like, and I was really suffering from like some bad, you know, like I was having like a legitimate like bipolar episode where I could not move. Like I had to stay in bed. And I was like, and if I don't stay in bed, it's not going to be good. And I finished it and I was just so like, oh my God, what did they do to Ed's story? And I didn't appreciate it. So I'm going to take one chance here to open up the lines and see if anybody wants to speak about that monster series with Ed's story. Well, a lot of times, like, a lot of things get mixed up because, like, I thought she died and he boarded up her room. Yeah, I think that is the truth. He had the mother's room, like, in a pristine condition. But that's also taken from Psycho, too. So I think a lot of people get the stories mixed up. But that's kind of what's so fascinating about it. I wouldn't even, dude, copy Brara, enjoy it. I wouldn't even bother. Don't waste your time unless you're, like, incredibly interested. Because it was really funny because my father, like, reached out to me. And he was like, he was just like, oh, how are you doing or whatever. And it was like, oh, I'm good. Like, how are you? What's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm just about to watch like the Ed Gein series. I'm excited. And I didn't want to like tell him like, oh, it's shit. Like basically like, don't even bother. Like, and he told me he didn't even get past like the 3rd episode. So it's pretty offensive to his legacy. And, oh, you just saw Psycho in the theaters. That would be really cool. But anyway, we'll continue on. I just wanted to give my thoughts because I was really excited for that. But now that I realize, like, whoever the hell is, like, in charge of these, like, movies, like, these monsters, is, like, a sick bastard who has no respect for the actual stories. So... yeah, Carpi Brara enjoy. I don't know. I mean, give it a chance. Everybody's going to be different, right? But if you're like a true like Ed maniac and you've watched all the documentaries, you've read the books, and like, I just don't think you'll like it. If you're somebody who doesn't know the story and is just like, oh, something new on Netflix, I mean, maybe you'll be okay with it. It does go into some interesting stuff, like the legacy of Ed. But then it's like getting into stuff like, you know, Alfred Hitchcock and Psycho, and talking about like that actor being kind of gay, and I'm like, that, you know, this isn't what I wanted. But that was the way I seen it. Do we have any other questions or comments? I'm leaving the Discord open before we celebrate another franchise. Let's see what the fans want me to speak about. Is there any movie franchise? Well, I think of the next one I want to cover. Actually, one just popped in my head right now. But let's see what the fans want me to celebrate here. How much did Discord pay? What are you talking about? The Ted Bundy story blew my mind. The dude escaped prison twice. Yeah, actually, that is true. Dude, I just watched that. Like, sometimes it's hard because when you're trying to find like a documentary, like sometimes it is hard to find one that actually covers everything. But that is true. The guy literally escaped twice. And like the second time he like escaped, he went on like a murderous rampage, which is like terrifying. But a really captivating, really fascinating story. But they put him to death. And I think that was a really scary story. Once I actually understood, the weight of it and how disturbing and shocking it really was. I was like, wow, that is disturbing. They don't even know how many people he killed. They don't know when he started. Like, they had to like tie a lot of loose ends together even to get him into court. It was a pretty scary story. So like, that's another one I'm sure they'll bastardize and, make a mockery of. So anyway, I was going to bring up another one. Speaking of like Ed and like the inspirations that he's had, another one I really like. Now this is something I'm really a fan of, actually. Silence of the Lambs. Now this is a really, I'm sure everybody's seen it, everybody's heard about it, but I think this is like a great example of not being like the horror that, not that popcorn teenager going to the movies horror. This is sort of like real, like psychological horror that I think is really powerful. And these are the stories I really like. Like, the whole like FBI, side of it. Like there's real like criminology type aspects to this story. It's not about just a guy running around murdering people. And I actually have read the books and I really do like them. They go into a lot of great detail. But I always thought this is one franchise that never really, I mean, of course it got like its recognition, but I think this style of horror movie is like underappreciated compared to like the Terrifiers or just the slop that they put out there. This was something that was really thought out, really put a lot of thought and a lot of research into what Hannibal Lecter was and, what made him scary. And it wasn't him that was the enemy. There was like a serial killer running around that they're hunting and they have to rely on another serial killer to catch him. And I just think that's such a great concept. I'm going to read your comments here. PWR, what about the original Jacob's Ladder? I could talk about that. The Hannibal TV show was great. I thought it was okay. It was a little bit too fantastical for me. A little bit too fantastical, but the concept is really good. But I'm a big Hannibal Lecter fan. I have all the books, actually. I even read his new book. It's not related to Hannibal Lecter. He didn't write a lot of books, actually. So he's a good author, though. Okay. And now, I will answer that. This is from Dark Wind. He wants me to talk about Jacob's Ladder. Now, a lot of you know that basically what makes this movie really special is it's like straight up like a Silent Hill movie. It really is. And what's interesting too is because there's a really powerful documentary about the first Silent Hill that I watched. I mean, it was like really powerful. It was like an hour and it was like 2 hours long. And it just went into like everything, like the inspirations from each individual team member and how they all came together, how they did the graph. It was amazing. But this movie was a pivotal point because I guess one of the creators of Silent Hill, the first one, like before the movie was like, before the game was like a franchise, seen this movie. And he mentioned that when he went to see it, he was by himself and he loved the movie and he watched it by himself when it was like, just a movie in the theater that was in the end of the theater, that nobody cared about. And I guess somebody else on the Silent Hill team that he met was also a big fan of the movie. So they came together and they talked about how great this movie was and how great it would make for like a game and stuff. And that's how it kind of came to be. Now the movie, I think, is like, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's necessarily scary, but it's very fascinating, especially if you're a fan of Silent Hill. Like, if you're a fan of Silent Hill and you haven't seen this, like, you're really missing out, because it is basically like the blueprint. There's a lot of creepy scenes, too. I always thought the scene where, like, the thing twitching in the back of the car as it was driving away was really creepy. But, yeah, totally a Silent Hill movie, as much as you could ever get. Dark Wind says, fantastic film. He's not calling it a movie. He is calling it a film, which is cool. What's the name of the documentary? Here, I'll find it right now for you. Hold on. Let me see if I can. I'm going to get it, because I think a lot of people would really like to watch this. So just hold on. And they did one on each game, too. They did one on each Silent Hill game. I just got to find it. Okay, here it is. It's called Creating Silent Hill, How Team Silent Created a Horror Classic. I'm going to put it in the... Because they did one on each game. And they're like this one is like, yeah, like 2 hours long. And we did get a contribution, and I will make sure I read that. Just 1 second. And I'm almost ready to just talk about Silent Hill, like, itself, because that is just a great horror concept. They're making a steel book of it. Oh, that's cool. I don't really collect stuff like that. But interesting. I think it does deserve like a premium release. I think really all we're seeing is just it's yeah, I guess this is what he's talking about here. But very, very cool movie. So we do have 32 frets tonight, baby. How are you? 66C has super chatted $5 and says, welcome back, brother. We'll be listening into the program, staying busy. Like, well, we're glad to have you, dude. Like I said, when I came back, I wanted to talk about something that I knew I'd be hot for, that I'd be passionate for. And I just thought it would be, it's raining tonight. It's dark. I got a horror shirt on here for you. So that's what we're doing tonight. And the fans are really responding. So thank you for the support. Lipstick Larry says, I am a huge collector of 4K Blu-rays. Well, the thing for me is, like, I don't really have like a big TV or anything. So mostly when I'm watching movies, I actually watch them on like a tablet. Like I have a nightstand, which I've talked about, like my deathbed nightstand. And I just have a tablet with a stand. It's like, you know, reasonably big enough. It's whatever. It's nothing. I mean, it's just like a Samsung or whatever. But I watch a lot of movies on that. So thoughts on The Fly starring Jeff Goldblum? Very disgusting body horror piece. I've only seen it one time, but I do remember being very disgusting and very disturbing and very scary. But more scary and like that physical, like there is that genre too. And I remember watching that one, The Substance, recently, that was like based on that, and it was pretty disgusting and pretty gross. Well, what's your most coveted 4K Blu-ray piece? Let us know. Oh, 1 second. Oh, you watched it while you were on acid? Oh my goodness, that'd be a hell of a night, I'm sure. 1 second. I don't want to put that Beethoven theme on. Okay, so I want to kind of get into Silent Hill a little bit, because it's not a movie, but I think it's like an incredibly powerful franchise, like I do want to talk about. Oh, 1 second. I recently spent $200 on the Super Mario Brothers 93 collector set. Is that like a limited run release, or? Damn, bro. But anyway, so something I want to get into, and again, I mean, it's hard to talk about these without covering like the whole franchise. I'm actually, as I was kind of getting a little bit more into horror, I've been kind of tempted to try this. And if I do try it, it'll probably be on stream. I haven't heard too much about it, but I'm very fascinated in it, so that'll be a we'll see. But Silent Hill, as far as horror goes, I mean, what can't be said? And what I do think is really interesting is I think the concept, when I think of the concept now and I think about what the story really is, it's straight like out of a book. You know, it's like it's what, like 1993. You go to a bookstore, you just see a book, like a horror book, and you grab it and you're just not thinking, and you get so captivated. And like, that's what I really see kind of Silent Hill as, is it's not so much influenced from like slasher movies or movies. It's influenced from books. And like the storytelling and the world building and the detail and the crafting and the heavy themes. So that's what I've recently kind of really tried to appreciate about the series, is it's much more novel-esque than, you know, something that was inspired by Friday the 13th or something. Psychological horror. And I love the series. I don't know though, because I really do think I'm more of a Resident Evil guy than the Silent Hill guy. But as far as the stories, I'm very much more into Silent Hill. I think it's a better story. Resident Evil has much more gameplay. That's up my alley. But Silent Hill, incredible horror series, incredible psychological horror series. Yeah, that's what I really appreciate too, is it's a Japanese mix that's mixed with America. And I love those type of stories, actually, because a lot of Japanese horror is like really scary and really creepy and really sticks with you in like a different way. And I think taking that and adapting it to something more American was like pretty groundbreaking. Like I said, if you go and you watch that documentary, you'll see like all the different influences and how they came together to form the series. And I definitely wanted to talk about that a bit. Fish Tank Enjoyer says, I'm playing the Resident Evil 4 remake now. I love that game. I pre-ordered it. I played it when it was new. And I really do like it. Excuse me, the Red Bull's giving me the burps. But I really do like it. It's great. What's up, 6 Foot Dig tonight? How are you? I have played the Fatal Frame games. Oh, we're not looking at console generations. We're celebrating horror tonight. FreeWoo92. Is there a series that you'd like me to speak about openly or cover? Like I said, we are taking calls if somebody wants to specifically speak horror tonight. For Hot for Physical, the horror edition. Yeah, Dead Space is a great title too. I don't think that series really got the recognition it really deserved. Now, 1 second, we do have a call here. We got Lipstick Larry live on the Hot for Physical call-in show. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey man, I saw you talking about Silent Hill, and I was wondering, have you seen that like mini documentary on, I think it was Silent Hill 3? It's not really a documentary, but it's kind of going over like the development of that, and kind of it showed like different views and the people behind the game working on it at the time. Have you seen that video?
I mean, there's tons of videos based on that, but I did link one in the chat that I did watch, and it sounds similar to that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because, like, you know, looking at that, I kind of wanted to just touch on just how impressive it was. You know, people, the developers specifically, you know, they stayed overnight.
Yeah.
They stayed so long.
The guy in the
game.
first one was sleeping under his desk just to make the cutscenes.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's crazy. You know, there's so much dedication and love that went into those games. You know, you look at the remake, which, you know, don't get me wrong, the Silent Hill 2 remake is really cool.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, that love that went into games, you know, during that time, I don't think anybody is capturing that.
I agree
It's
100%, man. Like I say, I mean, I say it all the time, blood, sweat, and tears. Like, that's
Yeah.
really what those pieces were back in the day. I mean, they were taking a huge gamble with such an out there, dark concept. Now, any Gen Z broccoli cut can program anything and sell it for $100. But back then, like, they were taking a real risk. And I think if you were just, you know, say you were like 25 years old and it was 99 and you just bought Silent Hill and played, like, it would have been such an experience compared to anything you would get now.
No, that's so true. And, you know, one thing I wanted to ask you,
Sure.
first, have you played the new Silent Hill game?
No, but I'm right on the cusp of being, I think I'm ready to.
Gotcha. Because I didn't know if you started playing it.
No.
I've been kind of like, I've been eyeing it myself, but I'll tell you one thing that I feel, and I want to know if you feel the same way
Sure.
as well. But so with Silent Hill F, it seems like they're trying to do the whole Silent Hill 2 look, right?
Right.
So, you know, you have the fog and everything is kind of washed out. But why, you know, one thing that I kind of caught my eye, I was like, why are they copying it? Like, you know, when Silent Hill 3 came out, it was so unique in its presentation, you know, that carnival horror.
I agree.
style.
And I loved, I mean, I streamed that game a while ago. I didn't beat it. But what I really did love about it was like the almost kind of like postmodern, like 2000s vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool. But one thing that really strikes me with the Silent Hill F that I'm excited for is like, and I know it's kind of cliche, but I've been reading some of that like Junji Ito manga author. And in fact, I was reading like Uzumaki or whatever. And it kind of gives me that kind of vibe. And I'm even more excited to maybe give it a try.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I'll actually write that down. I've never heard of that. So that is something.
Oh,
I've
you
never heard of.
have to try it. Dude, somebody recommended it to me. They were like, "Oh, have you ever read this Junji Ito manga author?" And I was never really into manga. I was like, "No, I haven't." But I remember one time I was at the bookstore and I was looking for something different, so I just grabbed one and I was like, "Yeah, this is up my alley. This is so much like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Fatal Frame, like that kind of style horror. You'll like it."
Awesome. So you're super into like the psychological horror stuff. You're more into that kind of stuff.
And
right?
that's why I say, like, when you look at a lot of these horror franchises, I think the first or second ones kind of tend to be more like that. But as they go on, like I say, it's just crap to throw out to teenagers to watch on the weekend. And I think they lost a lot of the psychological aspects.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you on that. Oh, by the way, before I go or anything, I kind of wanted to throw in here because
Sure.
you know, you were looking at movies, you were talking about films that you were enjoying. One movie that is super obscure, it's a horror movie. And I don't know if you've seen it. It was shot on like a 16 millimeter film or something like that. It's called The House of the Devil. Have you seen
No,
that?
I have not.
You have
I
to
like
see
the
it.
title.
It's amazing. Of course, I will not spoil it for you, but the ending is unbelievable.
Okay.
It's a slow burn movie that takes place during the 90s. It was released.
I'm liking it. I'm
2001.
liking it. I'm writing it down right
Sweet.
now. House of the Devil, right?
That's right. It's from 2009.
Cool.
It's an amazing movie. So, you know, throw that on sometime. Watch that on your tablet.
Yeah.
I think you'll really enjoy it.
Hell yeah. Thank you. I always love when people make horror recommendations. So thank you very much. Anyway, thanks for the call, man. I really appreciate it. That was a great call.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, brother.
Oh, you're welcome.
See ya.
Take care. Now that was really cool. Kind kind of tempting me a little bit, and that's the thing. When I heard there was a new Silent Hill coming out, I was very like, oh ho hum, but I wanted to have an open mind because it wasn't a remake. It was like completely new character, new story. I don't even know what the story is about. I've looked at like very little, but I don't know. I'm seeing like a lot of mixed opinions, so that kind of is making me like more excited. So who knows? Maybe Silent Hill F could be coming in the future. FreeWoo92 says, I like horror movies that are filmed from the Blair Witch perspective. Those kind of movies are great. Yes, I spoke on the Blair Witch Project earlier. Now, there was another franchise I did want to talk about, because I think this is like another one that I think is like really, above. And we're talking the original. We're not talking the effing remake. But Dawn of the Dead, the first one, man. And I guess it would be considered horror. It's almost more like an action movie. But I think this is like, and I'm speaking to the choir here. I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said a million times. I think this is one of like the greatest zombie horror movies like ever. There's so much influence from like everything we know, Resident Evil, Dead Rising, like everything. And it's just one of those movies that I think back then, like, instead of playing a video game, like, you'd watch this movie. Like, maybe you'd watch it like a few times a month or something. It has that very like immersive feel to it. I love the whole like survival aspect to it, how they're in that room and stuff, and then like eventually like over the course of the movie they get more supplies and like they're fighting off. So I just think it's like one of the most like video game-esque movies like you can watch. And I know it's old. I think it came out in like 77 or like 70s anyway. But man, it's just such a watchable, immersive, fun movie that if you haven't watched it because you're like, oh, that's old now, like I've seen everything, like definitely give it a watch. It has such a vibe, such an atmosphere. And this is really before like zombies became like fodder for like, using a machine gun on, like. And I always appreciate that, because zombies are like really terrifying, and it's a terrifying concept. But Project Zomboid vibes, yes, for sure. Speaking of that too, like I actually really do like zombie movies a lot, actually. And I think the only other one I think is really good, that I think a lot of you have probably seen, is 28 Days Later. Now, I actually did watch this like recently, because I watched like the new one that came out, and I was like, who is watching the same movie once a month? That's unhinged. Well, like back then, like if you had like a VHS tape of like Dawn of the Dead, like it's just, I feel like it's like the equivalent of like playing Resident Evil. Like it has like a very like video game-esque vibe to it that I think there probably were people that would watch that movie like multiple times and just get really immersed in it. But this is another one, man. And you want to talk about one of those really scary, like realistic, like horror movies? This is one that I always really liked. Just such a striking atmosphere. I love the whole like kind of gritty, like 2000s British vibe to it. Like that whole section of like him walking around the hospital and stuff is just unbelievable. The part where he goes into the church and it's an awesome movie. And then the whole like military gets involved and they turn evil. So it's almost got like a B plot about like, humans being more evil than the zombies. Like it's just such a great movie, man. Yeah, kids these days don't understand the days before streaming when you had to watch the same stuff all the time. Yeah, exactly. Like that. And like, I was kind of like at the cusp of that where like, you know, I had my stack of DVDs or whatever that, you know, and this was one I would watch like a handful of times because some of those movies have such like a world and such an atmosphere, and they show a lot of cool stuff being done that like, I don't know. It's like it was like the equivalent of playing like a really good video game. Like nowadays, that B plot is so popular for zombie movies. Very true. But I just wanted to I'm just kind of highlighting like any I come to mind. And speaking of that, this is another one I want to bring to mind that I'm sure a lot of people are really familiar with. But that is The Grudge. Now, geez, I distinctively remember, and like, yeah, this is the US version, and I have a lot to say about that, but I will never forget how terrified I was. Now, this came out in 2003, I think, so it was like right slightly before I started actually watching horror movies, but man, the commercial alone like scared the piss out of me. Like, I remember at this time I was like old enough where like, you know, my mom could like be like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store, I'll be back in like 2 hours, you know what I mean, or whatever. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I'd be sitting like in our duplex like by myself, or when I think at this time I was actually in the trailer park, so she'd be gone, and like, you know, I'd have the TV on and they'd play like the trailer of this. And man, that whole thing with like the white kid and the meowing in the trailer would scare the piss out of me, man. I loved it, but it just like, I would be so freaking scared every time the commercial would come on for the movie. I would change the channel. But that always kind of really drew me to this movie. Now, I have seen the original, and what a lot of people don't know is there's actually like a bunch of these movies. Like, I don't even know how many there is. There's at least 2 or 3 of them. And actually, beyond that, there's the Netflix series, which, man, if you guys have been sleeping on that Grudge Netflix series, you're missing some great, shocking, psychological, like, straight balls to the wall Japanese horror. So definitely check that out. I'm going to actually see right now if it's still on Netflix, because, man, okay, I'm getting too excited. I'm sorry. But that Grudge Netflix show is like when I talk horror, I always make those comparisons. Like, oh, this reminds me of like PS1 era, or like this kind of reminds me of like PC horror era. That show reminded me straight up of like PS2, PS1 horror, and it's amazing. So I got a little off topic, but if you guys have not seen it, definitely check it out. I think it's called Ju-On. I'm just seeing if it's still on Netflix, because it's pretty effing crazy. And I think it didn't get a follow-up season or anything, because I think it wasn't really that popular. I'm just looking here. I don't know if it is. Yes, it is. Ju-On Origins is what it's called. Really effing good. So if you like these movies. But anyway, so the original Japanese movies of it are really effing creepy. It's kind of hard sometimes to find the right version, because there's a version that has like really bad music throughout it, but there's also like a version that doesn't have that, which is a lot more atmospheric, but it can be a little tough to watch them properly. But if you have not seen these original Japanese Grudge movies, like, you're missing out. That the ending of the first one actually like scared the piss out of me. Like, legitimately, like 35 years old, right? Like, I mean, I was probably like 33 or 34 at that time. But there's, you know, we see so much crap and so much garbage that a lot of it is just in one ear, out the other. But I tell you, man, when I seen the first Grudge movie, the ending, it was either the ending of the first one or the second one. I was so scared, so freaked out, I couldn't take it. But yeah, love these movies. Love the concepts of ghosts and people facing an enemy that's not like a human. You know what I mean? Like, that's always like a really interesting concept that I've always really appreciated in movies, because it's more imaginative, but at the same time it's not really like fantastical at the same time. So I got hot there. So I'm gonna take a quick look at the Discord and see if we have anybody else that might want to speak out openly, talk horror. We're just having a real celebration of horror here tonight. So my Discord is open. So feel free to send me a friend request. If you want to call in, you want to talk horror, you want to make suggestions, talk about your favorite characters, your favorite kills, whatever it may be. Let's hear from you. We'll give you guys a couple minutes while I read the comments here. I'm heroically waiting. Maybe the calls just aren't as hot as they once were. But I do appreciate the people that actually did call in there tonight. That was really cool. So we'll just give another minute or two just in case somebody is shy or wants to speak openly or whatever it may be. We're hot over on Kick tonight, so let's get those subs. Let's get that YouTube support. We're effing back tonight. Like I said, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. Feel like I'm in my 20s again, baby. But yeah, just listening to that music again, dude, the Resident Evil music, it gets me so hot to play those games again. I love Resident Evil, and I don't know why I feel like this, but I feel like when you're playing like a Resident Evil game, you're kind of like battling against your own demons. Like you're like surviving your own like mental trauma or something. I always really liked it. I mean, that's how I feel. Like when you beat a Resident Evil game, you feel like you've kind of like overcome your own terror or something. And I love that. There's not a lot of games that really capture that as closely. So we don't have any other callers. Unfortunately. So I'm just gonna go off a rant on something that I actually really love. Now I've talked a lot about bedside comfort. When I'm on my deathbed and the comfort that I like to listen to. This is one of them, Darkseid 2. Now this isn't a movie, this is just a game, but I've never played the game, but I've watched it. I have like a video of it, and I've downloaded the video. It's just like a playthrough of it. And it's just so creepy, but also like so relaxing and so calming that a lot of times, like if I'm just stressed out or I'm not really doing well, I just put this on and it captures my imagination. But it also kind of like puts me in this like relaxed state. I mean, again, we're talking about those sort of like pre-rendered, cheesy graphics with the cheesy voice acting and everything. But the concepts are really imaginative and really creepy. Again, this era of horror kind of does remind me of like reading a really good horror book. PWR, are you thinking about Yes, I am. Yes, I am, actually. I think it's an important decision for people to make. I'm just looking at some other stuff here. But yeah, so I just wanted to cover some more. If anybody has anything else they want me to cover, I'm kind of drawing a blank because I've just been talking for like 2.5 hours. But does anybody else have any questions or anything they want to interact with me about? And I'll answer openly here now. I'm actually going to show something like pretty crazy. Don't do it. Like these are like so, actually I didn't even know there was a new one, but like these Silent Hill CDs are really a lot of money. If anybody's into like CDs, I don't really collect CDs, but these original soundtracks are definitely coveted by horror collectors. My favorite Silent Hill soundtrack is probably 3. Oh, you once had a Shadow of the Colossus CD. That's cool. Yeah, this is the original. I always thought this is like so creepy. Like that's like one of the creepiest like album covers like ever. But I mean, these are like real premium pieces of audio collectible. Talk about the Biber? What's that? What do you mean by that? Talk about the what? The Biber? Yeah, this thing needs to be like burned for its like creepiness or something. The thing is too, the first soundtrack is like really almost like unaudible. It's a, oh, Bieber? Like Justin Bieber? I don't have much to say about him. The Guyver. What? I have no idea what you're talking about. The Guyver. You're drunk. Oh, well, I have no idea. Just take a breath and ask your question in an appropriate manner, and I'll try to answer what you're talking about. Yeah, but the Silent Hill 3 soundtrack, I think, is the best one for sure. Because it actually has, like, listenable music to it, which is good. It still has those very, like, creepy, like, industrial type tracks, but it... What's the oldest horror film I enjoy? Honestly, let me try to think. Well, other than Psycho, I would probably say, Day of the Dead, which again is like one of those, is that what it's called? No, it's Night of the Living Dead. Isn't it Night of the Living Dead? Yeah, I almost got that. I think this would be it. This would probably be like the oldest horror movie that I really like. You'll be back when you're sober? Okay. Well, I'm glad to have you. This is probably like one of the older horror movies where I'm like, again, I like zombie stories a lot. I don't know if I mean, they're horror, but in this day and age, they're more into their, it's more its own subgenre, and usually zombie movies are quite like trashy. You know, it's something that's not really taken that seriously. But this first, like, Night of the Living Dead, I just think, yeah, 1968, I think is just so incredible. And even to this day, like, yes, it does look super cheesy and stupid, but I just love the concept, like, held up in an old house, zombies around. And that's, like, before, like, zombies were really, like, some kind of, like, popular entity that, you know... I love it. I think that's such a cool concept. And it's so simple, too. They're just in a graveyard, and, you know, they see a zombie. The guy gets attacked. She runs and finds a house, and then it's just like a survival movie. I think that's cool. Great classic piece. But older than that, I wouldn't know too much. I don't watch like those, like, you know, Frankenstein or like, I've never seen like any of those movies. Zombie 2? No, I have not heard of Zombie 2. Actually, I think that somebody actually mentioned that before. They were like, have you seen Zombie? Let's like look at it really quick. Thank you for getting physical. You're welcome. You're welcome, Pickle Man. Thank you so much. And the support was incredible. The support. Oh, you haven't watched a movie in 3 years? Actually, that doesn't really surprise me. I'm not really a movie guy myself either, but sometimes like, it's hard for me to pay attention. That's why I like horror movies and like thriller movies, because they really do like you're not going to see me sitting there watching like comedy movies or something. I like horror movies and thriller movies because they get you on the edge of the seat. That's why I like a lot of serial killer and like true crime and all that kind of stuff more than, you know, like sci-fi, you know, like I'm not going to sit there watching Star Trek or something. What did he call it? Zombie 2. I don't see it here. Did I spell it right? Can't get enough Frankenstein. I've never seen it, actually. I've never watched, like, those just seem silly to me. Maybe they are good. Like I said, sometimes until you watch something in that perspective of what it would have been like back then, you can't really truly appreciate it. So maybe I can focus on a game for 8 hours, but a movie I get restless. Yeah, same here. When I know I'm watching a good movie is like when I'm just totally sucked in and I'm like, how much longer is left, you know, and there's still like 30 minutes and I'm like, man. Wow, thanks for the good vibes. I got a 2, 3, 4. What does that mean? Is that your lottery numbers tonight? I don't know. I never seen this zombie. Is it zombie or zombie? Oh, you're bowling. Oh, good for you, dude. That's awesome. Zombie 2. I don't see it. Oh, is this it? 1979. Oh, dude, that looks like brutal. Is this it? That looks like brutal. Look at that. Oh man, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Let me read the back. A derelict boat is found adrift in the local waters of New York City. Investigating police units are shocked when a corpse-like stowaway attacks them and plunges into the murky water, leaving one big mystery on their hands. That definitely sounds like something I would like. Following the story, it's bare bones. Peter teams with a daughter of a scientist said to have gone missing in the Caribbean. Sounds pretty effing cool. Maybe I will check that out. Now, I wanted to mention something else. I always thought this was like such a weird movie. But I wonder if anybody has like seen this before. Because like a lot of us know of like Jigsaw. But this is like a really crazy movie. If you guys have never heard of this or never seen it and you're like kind of into like the Saw movies, check this series out. Cube. It's like very like much like a Saw movie, but even more like fantastical and almost kind of like sci-fi-ish. There's a few of them. But this is like definitely a series I would recommend that I think if you haven't seen it or you haven't heard of it, definitely check it out. Because it's got, I mean, it was made in the 2000s, but it's kind of got that like 90s, you know, made for TV-esque haunting feel to it. And I just think a lot of people would really appreciate it if you haven't heard of it before. So that would be like a hidden gem that just popped into my head. Because of course, like, I mean, we have Saw, which again, I think was like a really revolutionary first release. But then I think it just completely devolved into like garbage, honestly. Like you can tell so quickly. By the time you watch like the second and third one, I think it just lost its importance. I know there's a lot of people that really like them, but I think the Leprechaun movies, yes, I do like those. Those are really fun. I actually have another one I want to bring up here. A lot are popping into my mind. I just wanted to do something a little different. I was really passionate to share some horror stuff this time of year. But yeah, the Saw movies. I'm curious if anybody really does like them. I do like how there's like kind of like a police, like kind of like cat and mouse aspect to them. But I think it devolves so much into violence that it kind of lost what made it special. Now there is another movie that I really do like that I want to just speak about for like a couple minutes if I can find it. But Hostel, like the first one. That's like another movie, and it is like incredibly brutal. Like I'm sure a lot of people have seen it or heard of it. But I think again, it's one of those really good movies where it's like people walk into this and you get like a little glimpse of something that's going on like a grander scale. And I think this movie does a really good job at capturing that fear and that terror. Because, like, you don't know how long this has been going on for. You don't know all the disturbing things that have happened. And it is really violent. But I think at the same time, it does a good job at, like, capturing a really disturbing situation. That was really cool. The Crow. I never watched those movies, actually, The Crow. I know what it is, because the Sting board. Did you end up beating Dark Souls? No, I didn't, but I was tempted to play it again, because it's been a while. That's when we were going to the movies all the time, like when this came out. Yeah, the mid-2000s was like a fun time to like go see movies and stuff. I definitely remember that as well. But I want to shout out one of my other favorites that I really like, that is so silly, but I always had like such a soft spot for this movie, The Dentist. Speaking of that, because I recently got dental work done, so I didn't make the comparison, but this is such a good movie. Again, it's kind of got that like 90s calming atmosphere to it, but the main actor is just so effing good that it just makes for such a good like movie. Some of these movies are like completely saved by like one performance of the main actor, or like otherwise it would just be like a complete garbage movie that like nobody would care. Yeah, it is hilarious. I like it. I think it's funny and weird and creepy. It does have like some pretty good kills, but it is a good classic 90s horror that if you have not seen, I'd recommend. And it's like pretty short too. And what I kind of like about it too is it's more true to life. Like there's not really any like superpowers going on. It's just kind of like, you know, like this could happen. Like you don't know. Oh, dude, I am such a fan of that movie. I've watched it, I swear to God, probably like 5 or more times. I'll speak about it a little bit because you mentioned it, Smitty. But if you guys have not seen it, it is, I don't think is there a DVD of it or anything? Let's see. I guess there is, kind of. It's in like a 2-pack. I don't see it in its own release. But yes, The Ice Cream Man. Such an awesome, yes, you got it exactly right, Smitty. Such a weird 1990s horror movie. I love it. I think it's hilarious. And it is kind of creepy. Like, it's not scary, but it's creepy. And that actor is like really effing creepy. And like what I like about it too is it kind of reminds me of like an adult Goosebumps story. Like Are You Afraid of the Dark or like Goosebumps? Like it's almost kind of like that, but an actual like R-rated movie. So it's like pretty good. I would definitely, if you want something really creepy that is also kind of funny, but is like, I think a good enough movie to stick with you. I always really like the part where like the ice cream guy is like following the kid in the grocery store. I was like, that's pretty creepy. But definitely, guys, check that out. If you never watched it, this would be like a PWR. It's on YouTube. You can watch the full thing. There's like, it's uploaded on YouTube. But yes, The Ice Cream Man. It's a really good, creepy, fun, silly movie that I think hits like so many boxes when you talk about like enjoyable horror. Like, you don't have to think too hard. It's not gonna like keep you up at night or anything, but while you're watching it, you're like, ooh, this is kind of off-putting and creepy, and I really like that about it. So we're just about to hit 3 hours, which is usually what I go for when I do the Hot for Physicals. I don't know what you guys really thought about this, so you can let me know. We haven't done Hot for Physical in a while, so I'm gonna open up the lines one last time to close us out for any questions, and we'll allow you guys to speak openly, so go ahead. I'll keep my eye on it right here. Then I gotta get out of here. I have to go for a walk. Then I have to go lift my weights. You know, I have to comb my hair. You know, I have to change into something that kind of shows my arms off a little bit more. And I got to get downstairs to my wife. So I can't go long tonight. Well, thank you, Darkwind. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But I am looking for something to play that's horror related. I don't know. I didn't want to just jump back into gaming after my episode I had. I just wanted to talk. You know, I wanted to talk and celebrate and talk about something I was passionate about. I'm not like a horror maniac, but I mean, how can you not want to talk about horror this time of year? We do have a call, so we'll take that. We got Lego. Oh, I know who you, Lego Modi. How are you, brother? Glad to have you. Glad to hear you. What do you got to ask tonight? Are you on the line? Oh, yeah, we don't hear you, so try calling back. Yeah, wife, exactly. I'm a grown man. I'm a successful streamer. Of course I got a wife downstairs waiting for me to get off. That's why I can't go any longer than 3 hours tonight. We'll try again here. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? Do we got you? Oh, we got you. We got you. What is up?
Here. Okay.
Yeah, I hear you very faintly.
Okay, great. I just wanted to say fuck the casino.
Oh, you're hot at that brand?
Yeah, they fucked me over. Well, they didn't really. It's just a show. But they totally went I've been giving them super chats for like 5 years now, and they threw me away like garbage.
Why was that? What, did you have something that you wanted to bring forward, or some kind of allegation to? I'm trying to understand. What has you so hot at that brand?
Well, it's like, I don't think we're friends, but I don't think they should be like doing me dirty, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I was paying for entertainment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you felt like you could come forward about it.
Yeah, but they suck, man.
All right. Well, thank you.
They had a big Discord like incident, and ever since it's like they don't trust nobody, and they like are like pushing weight to everybody, and like being really weird about it.
Well, I do really appreciate you putting those allegations forward.
Okay. Well, I probably shouldn't mess with them though, because they really ain't worth it. It's just a show. But
Yeah.
fuck 'em.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to cut you off because I'm sorry, fans, you know, usually I don't tolerate that type of language, but he was clearly, you know, very emotional, very passionate. Had something that he wanted to get off his mind, so I allowed it. But there you go. Lego Modi is hot at the casino. Before we go, do we have any other questions or any other topics that you want to be celebrating? Because like I said, I gotta get out of here. Yeah, let's get some subs. Winter Soldier is saying it over on the Kick Alternative. He's saying, let's get some subs. Maybe my wife will have to wait downstairs if we start getting support. And we got some support, so I guess my wife is gonna have to wait downstairs. Coco Bro 97 has super chatted $1.99 and says, "Hey PWR, I found out that I'm going to be a dad." Well, brother, I'm very happy for you. If it's something that you're happy about and you're excited about, that's awesome, dude. I'm really proud of you. It's gonna be a very powerful journey. And, you know, if I could just give you one piece of advice, don't throw your kid in front of a Family Guy DVD, because we've seen, you know, so many examples of where your kid will end up if you put them in front of that crap. So that'll be my parenting advice for you. Is my wife inflatable? That's bull crap. No, I'm mad at that. No, I have a real wife downstairs. Of course I do. Like, if I wanted, I could go downstairs, tell her to come up in front of the stream, and she would do it. But I'm not gonna do that. Because she doesn't need your abuse. All right, I'm just keeping my eye out, because I really appreciate you guys, like, coming and interacting, and not only interacting and supporting, but participating. You know, we had some great conversations. I got some suggestions to check out, so that's cool. I'm really excited, really celebrating. Yeah, but everybody give a shout out to Coco Bro, for sure, for becoming a father now. But like I will tell you, there is so much more to fatherhood than just putting a frozen pizza in the oven. And I think that's what I would say. You know, in this day and age, things are so complicated. You know, it takes a lot more than just throwing a frozen pizza and pouring a glass of chocolate milk to be a father now. Lego Modi says, "I'm sorry for the F." Oh, well, no problem. Like I said, I allowed it, Lego Modi, because I could tell you were passionate. And you weren't just swearing because you didn't have intelligence. You were swearing because you were passionate and you wanted to get your point across. So that's no problem. Don't worry about that. But I do appreciate the apology very much. Very much appreciate the apology. I'm just gonna, I will forgive you for 10 subs. Yes. 10 subs and your transgressions will be looked past. Skazo says, "Got to get ready for my day. If the stream is over before I'm back, stay hot." Oh yeah, I'm probably not going to go too much longer, because like I said, I got a wife downstairs. I have a life. So I can't just sit here all day and talk to the camera. But no, actually, I'm surprised there are so many people over on the Kick Alternative, and it's hard because I had a bad episode, like I really did, and they happen, you know. I think everybody who deals with like certain illnesses or certain struggles, you know, if you want to put it in the medical term, I'm just surprised that I went so long without having one, because I do like doing the streaming, but I started to really to notice it was coming on, because I was starting to think like everybody's the enemy. You know, these people are wanting to harm me. These people are evil. I'm not gonna like. And I was like, wait a second here, my brain like is having an episode. So I was like, sometimes when that happens, dude, I gotta just effing shut myself away. Or things get really ugly. Smitty says, "Oh, well, thank you, dude." Has super chatted $2 and says, "Put this towards the hat goal." Taking the hat off. PWR, did you see the Kino movie on the other product? It's well made and funny. No, I did not. No, I did not hear about that. I haven't been on the internet like basically at all. Like I was just like, I'm just gonna sit in bed until my my thoughts are more straight again. Because the truth is if I get on stream and I know I'm not well, then it's just going to be a disaster. Coco, bro, I tell you what I think I want to have my kids grow up with, what I grew up with, the classic N64, GameCube, and PS2. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's going to be a well-adjusted child. That's going to be a very well-adjusted child. Very cool. But yeah, I mean, I talk about not getting ass, or, you know, but if somebody in our community is getting ass, is becoming a father, then you're damn right. I'm gonna celebrate that. So good for you, dude. I'm actually just gonna, while we're kind of wrapping up here, looking to see if anybody wants to call in at all. I'm actually gonna browse Steam really quick, because like I am kind of looking for like a new horror game to celebrate or to play, but I just don't know. Like, I'd like to play something like I haven't played before, something like relatively new. All kids want now is Roblox. Yeah, screw that. Screw that. Apparently that's like a PETA blank haven. There's a lot of debauchery going on in there. But I mean, when I was a kid, it was all about the Habbo Hotel. Anybody remember that? At least you can recognize bad thoughts and step back, not crashing out. Yeah, no, it's true. I was like, I just got to get off the internet, because I couldn't see anybody as a good person. I was like, everybody's evil. Like, everybody's trying to get me. And I wasn't like depressed, like people talk about, like, oh, you know, my depression from that. It wasn't like that. It was almost more like a distorted way of thinking that you can't change. Check the film if you want a laugh. Well, what's it called? I'll check it out. What do I look up? Maybe I'll watch it tonight. Is it an actual movie? Like a feature length? I guess what he's saying is, let me read what he was saying about this. Because I kind of missed it. Did you see the Kino movie on the other product? So we know what the other product is. So did we see the Kino movie on the other product? It's well made and funny. The Dented Zone. Let me look it up here on, make sure I can find it so I don't forget. It's an hour long. Oh, it's like an actual, like, piece. Oh, yeah. It's an actual full-length piece. Okay. I'm actually very interested. So let me search this up. Okay, I will check that out. Yes, I will. I can see what it is here. I'll check that out. I'll make sure that'll be my homework for tonight. That sounds really funny. But yeah, if there's anything else that anybody wants to ask me or call in before I have to get out of here, let me know and we'll do it the way that we do it. But for my return for Hot for Physical, I usually don't go too much longer than the 3 hours or so. But people wanted me to bring back Hot for Physical. I thought it would be something a little different so I could just talk more to the audience and have a topic and celebrate this time of year. But yeah, I will check it out. Oh, it's Andy from Kino Casino, like acting as that other powerful entity, that other powerful, successful brand. Is that what you're trying to tell me here? Sounds fun. Oh, cool. Yeah, I really love that kind of stuff. Like, you know, acting and like kind of becoming somebody else and like really getting into their mind. And, you know, that's always a lot of fun. And if that's what it is, then yeah, I'd love to check it out. I probably will after I have a shower and get downstairs with my wife, and maybe we'll watch it together. Great. I'm just looking here at some stuff. But yeah, I appreciate all you guys. Thank you for the kind messages. And thank you for the support. There was an incredible support. Tonight I was shocked. I didn't really expect it because, you know, when I do the hot for physical, it's just a little different. But psychology, it's fun. You know, like that's why I like those like serial killer movies and stuff, because it's interesting watching people really getting into those dark characters. Well, they're not even characters, they're just people, right? But that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know they did anything like that. So I will definitely check that out. That must have been when I was like laying in bed or something, because I never heard. I feel like it's something that people would have mentioned to me before. So no, I haven't heard anything about it, but I will check it out. Yeah, of course. Cool. Well, anyway, we'll not get any other questions. Oh, somebody's calling it lame. Mr. Beer says fire. How are you, Mr. Beer? Are you drinking some of that tonight? Card counter Bond Clay, how are you? I'm gonna be wrapping up here soon, but I'm just keeping my eye out for any other questions before I gotta go. I'm actually just looking at this Clock Tower Rewind here. Not recommended. Sad I missed the stream. I'll be hot and hard with support. Oh, damn. Well, if you're not supporting, why are you here? No, we're not doing it like that. That's a nice comment. That's a nice comment, though. I appreciate that. But don't worry about the support. Just as long as you're here and you're enjoying what I'm doing, I mean, that's enough. If you want to support the career, you know, it does help. But I think it's cool that people even wanted to come on and talk with me again, because, I mean, it's been a while. The thing is, I don't think I streamed in like a week, but it doesn't feel that long. It literally felt like about 2 days. But I was like legitimately like catatonic. Like catatonic, basically. And when you start getting those thoughts, like, you really get, it's scary, man, because you start to think, like, it's hard to explain, but it's like you get this anxiety and you feel like everybody is evil. Like, everybody is bad. And, like, you start getting, like, really, like, not violent thoughts, but, like, hateful thoughts. And you want to, like, protect yourself. And you're like, I don't want, these bad people to get me. And now, I mean, eventually it just kind of goes away and you kind of become normal again. But I had to just step away because that was the mindset. You know, I just laid in bed and I just read some book and did my thing. My teeth are better so I could eat again. I think that those root canals did a bit of a number on me. Next stream, baby. Well, thank you so much. I'll try to keep it up. Oh, don't worry about it, man. Like I said, that's just a part of life for me. But I think the thing is with being like a streamer, especially like, yeah, my streams are lower now, but I do know that there's like some people that still have their eyes on it, that want to see it go bad. And if I feel like it could be a bad situation, like I got to be respectful to the people that want to be here and that do enjoy watching me and just not let that creep in. A mind virus? That's a way of thinking that. Well, it's because I can realize it. I'm like, I might feel that way, but I know it's not reality. But sometimes it's so overwhelming that I had to pull myself back into like a place of comfort. Like, I don't think I talked to anybody for like, I don't know, a few days. But anyway, that's going to be it for now, baby. That is going to do another episode of Hot for Physical. But yes, I'm back. And I want to put some thought into what I'm going to play next or what I'm going to do next. Now, I was pissed off. And I'll just say this to end the show or the stream or whatever. People want me to talk about that other product again. They really do. I've had so many messages, like not 100, but like I've probably had it be at least 5 to 10 messages. People are like, are you ever going to talk about that other brand again, that other product? And I always say, you know, I don't want to, because I can't stand those effing detractors, you know, for what they've done to devalue my career. And, you know, but I've thought about it, that if it's actually something that I think could be of value and I'd have something to say, and it's something that the fans do want in a positive way, because I don't want to just do it for like a monetary thing. And it's a lot of effort. But I've given it some thought, you know, I've given it some thought, but that's your answer, because I've had so many people reach out about that. But at the same time, it just pisses me off because the effing detractors try to spin it like, oh, his career is dying, so he's got to talk about him again. So I take that to heart, because that's not really what I'm doing. I have so many people that want me to do it, but I'm kind of at a crossroads, because I don't want to feel like I'm only doing it because my streams are dying, which, I mean, I don't see it that way. I mean, I'm still enjoying this. But yeah, like, I think people like to get away from that kind of crap. And I don't want to pull myself back into it. Like, I've realized that the guy is just like not who I thought he was. And once you really, when you have like a child, well, I'm not going to say childhood, but when you have a hero that you look up to and that inspired you, and you realize like what they really see you and the rest of their fans like, it's really disheartening, man. It is. And I try to appreciate the viewers and the real fans and the people that I recognize. I try my best. But that's going to do it. Yeah, screw them. Because that is going to do it for another episode of Hot for Physical. I am back. And we're going to go harder than ever before. If my mental state will allow that. And I'm going to be looking for new things to do. I'm going to read your comments. Did we ever finish Bully? No, I did not. But I'm on the last chapter, I think. I think I got to the last chapter because I got distracted just dressing up as the ninja and running around beating people up. on the last stream I did of it. That was a while ago. That was like a month ago. But anyway, I am out of here. I got to get downstairs, as some of the famous, successful other streamers say. And like I said, if you have anything you want to see, any ideas, any thoughts, leave them in the comments. You know, absolutely, because I can see all your comments. So I will be reading them, and I will be taking all suggestions to mind. So peace out, guys. Thanks for your respect. Thanks for the kind comments. And I do have to say thank you for the contributions. That was really kind. I wasn't really expecting it because I knew I had to put in that work, baby. Like, it's back to work, back to the career. All right. But anyway, so I'm going to say thank you. Who do we got here still around? We got Matt Dubinsky. Good night to you. Coco Bro 97, who is a father now. So congratulations to him. We got Colonel Cap'n Dark Wind, and we got Matt Dubinsky and Fish Tank Enjoyer. So we had a lot of really classic fans, and we got White Sammy Sosa as well. So good night to you guys, and I can't wait to chat again. We'll tag up again, and man, it just felt so good to come on and just talk again, to be honest. Because I think one issue is when I got the new laptop, and everything just ran so well. I kind of got into a bit of a comfort zone where I didn't really like push myself because everything just worked so well. So I got to put in work back for the real fans. But anyway, peace out. I'm going to be getting downstairs, and I will talk to you later. Like I said, don't be afraid. Leave some comments.